If there is music playing,
Okay.
I'm not specifically hearing it, but I'm also about to sneeze.
It's not really
Maybe.
music, it's just ambient, and by the way, we're live, so...
Oh, hi!
I might literally just be about to sneeze, we'll see, but the more I talk about it, maybe it'll go away.
I have to mute my TV now. Forget about that.
My sneezes it's never one.
Yay, somebody's here! Hooray!
Hi, people!
All right.
I'm so excited, and I don't even try to hide it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we are going to start with Emmerich and Val, who are have talked to each other a little bit, got to know a little bit about each other, along with Ireena, and are starting to make their way from the village of Barovia. That's your cue to start role playing.
Ah, I see. Okay. Emmerich's just kind of leading the way somehow. Or not leading the way, more so standing up front to try and keep an eye out on the roads and things.
Mm-hmm.
But he's content to leave any conversations up to the other two.
Yes, Ireena and Val have been bonding, and she does say that she is not that she's uncomfortable about going to the Vistani. It's just that we don't always have the best relations with them. So, but it'll be great. So, excuse me. So, just past the last outlying farm west of Barovia, just the burnt ruins of an abandoned house with an iron fence surrounding a small collection of gravestones. Emmerich knows that this is the former abode of the Vatralu family, who died in a horrible fire, and that locals say it's cursed. And I almost forgot one thing. If you look on your Roll20, I added a little token that's called Point of Interest under Companions, and if there is a point of interest, someplace you noticed but you don't want to go to right now, feel free to drag it on the map and leave it there, so you'll know where it is.
Oh.
Okay.
So, where on the map would that house be?
Would be
yeah,
right.
I feel like that was a hint that we should.
I'm just describing things that are on the road. It does not necessarily mean that
everything's important.
Everything's important.
Yeah. That little one leaf is going to be a game changer.
The entire map of Barovia is just.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
Do I see anything, perhaps, in the graveyard?
You don't see anything right now, but then again, you definitely know from your experience that spooks tend to come out at night.
And it's
or if morning? You annoy them.
Morning right now?
It's mid-afternoon right
Mid-afternoon.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's your timey-wimey stuff. Only because I want you to not have to sit all day with the Vistani waiting for the others to come. So we're generally ruling that it's like mid-morning. Did I say mid-afternoon? Because I meant mid-morning. Mid-morning. Okay, let's go. All right.
So when Ireena mentions like her discomfort with the Vistani, Valentina will say, I traveled with them for a good week and they're very nice.
Oh?
I had no problems.
That's weird. I've never had them ask to do anything but trade. And usually really not with us, more with the traders in town. So, and there's always the rumors.
I don't know. They're very nice. They even invited me to a wedding that's happening in a couple weeks. So.
That's very interesting. You must just have the charms that I don't.
She just shrugs.
So Irena's hitting on Val. Okay.
Not what I got out of that, but all right.
Do we still see that raven?
No, that's just my camera.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that raven flew away. It flew like down towards the swamp that's around the river. You know, a mile or so down there is basically the direction it was going to. So if you would like to continue to walk along the trail, which is the the light part of the like brownish part, that's the road.
Yeah.
So if you want to go ahead and move your tokens down.
I'll probably go towards the bridge. Because Emmerich wouldn't feel comfortable going into that cemetery right now, and they have more important issues.
All right.
Hi, Ireena, we're protecting you. Let's go to the cemetery.
Right?
Something like that. Okay.
Don't get the wrong message here. It's for convenience. I'm sorry. No, it's for protection.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a description of this of the bridge. Just a second. It's just, of course, not conveniently on the same page as everything else, right? After the village. Also, it has its own special music.
Oh.
An old wooden gallows creaks into the chill wind blowing down from high ground to the west. A frayed length of rope dances from the gallows beam. The well-worn road splits here, and a signpost points off in 3 directions. Barovia Village to the east, Sayre Pool to the... I got ahead of myself. That's not the right description.
Oh. I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
The Gallow Bridge, guys.
Yeah. Okay, let's try this again. The river flows as clear as a blue winter sky through the valley. And I have a picture. So
much friendlier.
Yes.
Oh.
Ooh.
I'm still going to keep the music on, though. Hopefully it won't make Twitch mute us, because that would suck. Okay, so we can continue on the trail.
Yeah, I'm going to just be following Emmerich.
Okay. Ireena is too, to be perfectly honest.
I'm kind of just using my shovel as a walking stick.
Okay.
Follow the big giant guy.
And keeping an eye out to make sure we don't get, like, ambushed by wolves, perhaps. Not that that's not, already happened, but,
Barovia?
I know.
All right.
Shocker.
Go ahead and continue to move your tokens.
Oh, sorry, I went over here.
Bird face.
All right. You continue to walk through the woods. Emmerich, I don't think Emmerich's ever actually been this far out of town. It's as soon as you get over the bridge, it starts to get a little wild. It starts to get wild, and by that I mean the woods start, and the woods are deep, and they're old, and they hang low over you. There's not the amount of noises coming from it that an outlander would expect, but for like Val, it's pretty much normal. So occasionally you'll hear the howl of a wolf, but not close.
Okay. I do have to mention I haven't never been this far outside of the town. So, new territory.
Well, it gets easier the farther you go.
Right, but that's not fair. Okay.
Ireena says, Don't worry. He's mine too. We'll be okay.
And he just nods. It's like, do you want me to still lead? I feel like Val has more experience with this than I do.
Ireena does not care one way or the other. So-
Sure, I can lead the way.
Mhm.
If you don't want to, I can be the shield.
She'll get out her like really
He does
bad.
actually he does flash his shield whenever he says that.
Mhm.
She'll get out her really bad map of Barovia and try to like see where they are in
Mhm.
relation to the River Ilvis.
Oh, okay. That's probably more useful than me blindly following a path.
Yeah, so you know that this road, the Old Svalich Road, goes basically kind of winds around through the forest a little bit, and then climbs up to a mountainous area, which is called Zvalich Pass, based on the map, and that's basically the only way west without going through deep woods or climbing mountains. So.
All right.
That you probably just keep following it.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
just keep on following this road.
All
Oh,
right.
whoops. All right. Probably up to the fork over here, I would say.
Yeah.
Actually, stop right there.
Yeah. I figured.
All right. Actually, before you reach the fork, there is a big dead tree, and it has lots of ravens in it. And by lots, I mean like hundreds of ravens in it.
Oh.
All cawing at each other, and, talking to each other as ravens do. They don't seem to pay you that much attention right now, but they're standing there.
Emmerich gives him a respectful nod as they pass.
Mm-hmm.
Don't anger the birdies.
Mm-hmm. Ireena thinks it might be a good sign.
Okay, sure. Respect nature, I guess.
Yep. All right. Now I have a description that I started before, but I don't need to.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
At the crossroads here. Go back to that page. An old wooden gallows creaks in the chill wind blowing down from the high ground to the west. A frayed length of rope dances from the gallows beam. The well-worn road splits here, and a sign points off in three directions. Barovia Village to the east, Sayre Pool to the northwest, and Ravenloft/Valaki to the southwest. The northwest fork slants down and disappears into the trees, while the southwest fork clings to an upward slope. Across from the gallows, a low wall, crumbling in places, partially encloses a small plot of graves, shrouded in fog.
It's another graveyard.
Since graves are Emberich's specialty, it looks like obviously like a pretty old graveyard, and at a crossroads where it would be where they used to at least hang criminals and bury them here, so not to bury them in the church, which is sanctified. Doesn't happen as much anymore because there are fewer people and because people don't want to drive all this far.
All right. Once again, do I see anything over there before we try to pass it?
No, not before you pass it. No.
Okay.
You can go look at. You can go like walk in and look around at the graveyard, obviously, but from the road you don't.
Okay. Same as before. I don't really want to walk into the graveyard as of right now. Maybe if we come back.
I'm a little curious. Val starts walking into the graveyard.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait. I don't think that's a good idea.
Are you curious to see who was buried here?
Usually it would be criminals. As is the gallows. And I don't want to anger any of the spirits that may lie.
Right, fine.
We do have a bit more pressing matters as well. As far as getting, that cure you're looking for and helping Lady Ireena.
All right, good
But
point.
should it still pique your interest, we can always come back.
Aw, someone beat me to it. All right.
I don't know how to move it.
Valentina does look a little disappointed, but she'll go back on the road.
When you guys pause to discuss something, Ireena gets out her rapier and kind of air practices with it.
Does it look like she knows what she's doing?
It looks like she has used it before, but just to practice. You know what I'm saying? She's never actually stabbed anything with it, but has certainly practiced with it.
All right, just curious.
Yeah.
All right. So, do we know which path to take?
Well, I was told that the Vistani village would be near the river, so I think it looks like the river goes to the north.
Okay, then to the north it is.
Okay. As you start north from the crossroads, you hear a creaking noise behind you, coming from the gallows. Where there was nothing before, now hangs the lifeless, gray body of a tall, raven-haired witch. The breeze turns the hanged figure slowly, so that it can fix its dead eyes upon you.
Eyes of the grave.
Okay. If you don't mind, poke it on your character sheet if you can, because then I remember what it does exactly.
Okay. How do I do that?
You should still be able to just click on the name. Thank you. That's it. Yeah. No, you don't detect it as being undead.
So there's
yeah, and there's no undead within 60 feet of you.
All right.
But it's still hanging there looking at you, though.
But it definitely wasn't there before.
The gallows was empty before.
Valentina will kind of stand protectively in front of Ireena.
Mm-hmm.
And Emmerich is definitely in front of them, having done the eyes of the grave thing,
Mm-hmm.
brandishing his shield and his shovel.
Yeah, and Ireena admittedly is a little freaked out, but
I guess that's what you meant, Emmerich.
Yes, exactly. It's not undead, so I don't think it will come after us, but I do think we need to get going.
Not undead. Can I do an Arcana check on it?
Sure.
No, I guess I should roll 20, not my dice. Or...
You can roll your dice if you want to. I only need the descriptions spoke to me, so...
Oh, well, that's a nat 20, so
yeah.
we're gonna go with that.
We're gonna keep that one.
So if it's not dead, or undead, and it just appeared, then presuming that it's magic is a good presumption. To get more detail on it, though, you probably would have to go more closely examine it.
I will step closely and examine it.
Okay.
Wait,
It's not undead. It's probably an illusion of some sort.
All right. Yell if you need something. He's gonna stay back with Ireena.
Okay. We get closer. It the corpse looks real and it smells real.
Can we tell how old it is? Perhaps.
It looks like somebody. It looks like they were just hanged. Like they're dead and they smell dead, but not for more than, a few hours or so.
I try to touch it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
When you touch it, it like just dissolves into nothingness as you touch it and disappears.
It was just an illusion. No big deal. I don't know why that happened. She's like looking around to see if there's someone there that would have created the magic.
You don't see anybody from a cursory glance now.
Okay.
Can I do like a more in-depth look around?
Yeah, if you want to roll perception, you can do that.
To see like if something triggered it, or if like
Mhm.
there's like she said, there's someone nearby.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. It's a +3, so I'll just do it on roll 20.
Okay.
Oh, hey! Dirty 20.
So you do a pretty thorough investigation of the area, and you don't see anything other than the occasional normal small bird or rat or other rodent. No obvious humanoids, and no obvious trigger, or even not really any unobvious one either.
I think we should go.
It's weird. I wonder if that just us going by it triggered some sort of illusion. Or I guess it's good that it wasn't real.
Or it was simply the spirit. Even if it wasn't undead. Could just be dead.
Yeah. I guess.
But we do need to go now.
Ireena makes like a warding motion. Like this is what they do with the little sun, like you would do the sign of the cross in thing to protect yourself. So, but
more in line with the Morning Lord.
Exactly right.
I'd say Emmerich probably does the equivalent for Mother Night.
Mm-hmm. You can make something up, one of you guys, if you want to, because I haven't made up the warding symbol of of Mother Night. So
I feel like Valentina would be shaking her head at both of them.
Well, I feel like so Mother Night's symbol is a wolf eye. So maybe something like you take your hands and you go like this, and a single eye in the middle.
Cool. Sounds good.
I don't know. All right, and they go on.
Okay.
Emmerich is kind of nudging Val, like, no more questions. Only feet moving.
She reluctantly continues.
I love her. All right. So you guys can keep going up here. I'll move Ireena up.
Emmerich enjoys her company. He enjoys being alive and not cursed more. Okay, and then, so do we see the camp?
Yes, I'm going to describe it to you in just a second.
Yay! Camping time.
Alright, stop. Okay. The road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted, muddy path through the trees. Deep ruts in the earth are evidence of the comings and goings of wagons. In the distance, you hear happy, festive music echoing from the trees ahead. The canopy of mist and branches suddenly gives way to black clouds boiling far above. There is a clearing here, next to a river that widens to form a small lake several hundred feet across. 5 colorful round tents, each 10 feet in diameter, are pitched outside a ring of 4 barrel-topped wagons. A much larger tent stands near the shore of the lake, its sagging form lit from within. Near this tent, 8 unbridled Vistani horses drink from the river. The celebratory strains of a bowed fiddle clash with the singing of several brightly clad figures around a crackling bonfire. As you approach, a young girl skillfully playing the flute and dancing heads towards you, beckoning as if you were a group of friends, ushering you to join them by the fire. A footpath continues beyond the encampment, meandering north between the river and the forest's edge.
So Valentina smiles at Ireena and goes, "See, they're friendly." And then like runs up to the little girl.
Okay. Trying to adjust the sound here. All right.
Emmerich is definitely more hesitant.
Yeah, and so is Ireena. She'll stay with Emmerich. But what I have is a scene change. Doodaloo, 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 doodaloo. Of course, I have to put you guys on it first so you can see it. So give me just a second.
I guess that might be helpful.
All right. All right. You should be able to see the little girl right here. And I will show you some pictures.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Ireena, she's gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, she's there. I just forgot to put her token.
We already failed.
She vanished.
All right. How did I put everybody's token on this map except for Ireena? That was silly of me. People. There we go. See, she was falling behind you.
And this is the little girl right here?
Yes, it is. And I might even have a picture of her, I think. There she is.
Cute.
She looks to be about 10 or so. All right.
I love her hair.
It's nice hair. And so she's still playing the flute, so she's not, like talking to you, but she's still like waving you over. And when you get within view of the fire and the people around it, they start beckoning to you. Come sit.
I am not seeing the fire.
It's here.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Kind of glances at Ireena, like,
She just like shrugs.
what do we do?
Val's like waving you guys over.
I mean, they invited us, Ireena says.
Maybe they invited you to. He's kind of like not believing he was invited
He's like,
for various reasons.
she's like, well, I guess we can find out, can't we? And if all else fails, we can run away.
I suppose that's true.
Mm-hmm.
After you.
Okay. She comes up here by Val. Okay.
Hanging behind.
Mm-hmm. So there are a number of men and a couple ladies. There is, let's see, what I'm pointing out to here. Obviously, this guy is the oldest. I do have handouts, so I should just show them to you, though. Here we go. You don't know their names yet, but they're still beckoning to you. When you get close, like they, a couple of the people run off, and they come back with food, like stews and soup and wine for you. Please join us. Join us. We are having a celebration.
What are you celebrating?
I think you'll see that a little later today. But perhaps love. Who knows? Did you notice that that number of the men are dressed like in probably their best clothes? So
Oh, is someone getting married?
No, not yet. Uh, he lasts and introduces himself as Stanimir. And I'll give you handouts to everybody else around the fire. So, da, da, da.
Armand looks very cocky.
Yeah. Grigori's very second edition.
Yeah, sideburns.
And there's, if you don't see, you don't say Elisa right now, but Yosef is up there. They're not here. She's not there. What do? Uh-oh. I got a broken link. One second here. This man should be seen. I swear.
Does he have awesome sideburns?
They're okay sideburns. So.
Ah.
I'm used to my NPCs being graded, especially by Keely, so no worries.
It's true.
There are these two.
Question isn't the sideburns.
Huh?
It's how they'll react to my potential stabbing.
That's
That's the trick. It's the key.
We don't know they're here for you. We're not there.
But you're going off on sideburns, and I'm like, that's not what we're judging this.
And this nice lady, and
That's ominous.
well,
She holding a knife.
not at this very second, but it's very close to her. It's like she's in the front, so you can see it easily.
I respect that.
The other girl has a sword in her hand, so that's fair.
This young man.
I feel threatened.
He was scarred by the knife that the other girl's holding.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and
Got
then
a little too cocky.
there's this boy who is probably in his early teens, and
Oh, he's pretty.
then finally this girl who, probably late teens, and she, while everybody else is around the fire or close to the fire, she is a little bit distance behind, leaning against the wagon, looking sullen, like a sullen teenager, because that's what they do.
Okay. All right.
Well, hello. I will try to remember all of your names.
No, just no worry. Don't worry. Stanimir says, he says, just, come, enjoy yourselves, enjoy some wine, relax, and, if you get confused, we take it well. We are, Giorgios do not always remember our individual names, and that is okay.
I am Valentina.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Valentina. And
Hey,
your companions?
Yeah, this is Emric and Ireena.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead. What you can say, Val?
I traveled with a different Vistani group, and they told me to seek out Madame Eva here.
Yes. It was foretold that you would come. But Madame Eva is resting at this moment, so enjoy yourself, and later this evening she'll see you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Please, do not be afraid or shy. He says to both Emmerich and Ireena hanging back there.
I have anxiety. He doesn't say that.
But that was very funny.
God, he's just like he's basically giving Ireena like a help me. I don't know how to handle this many people.
Ireena just kind of shrugs and she like walks in. She is.
No, don't leave me.
No, she's just like, come on. She like tugs at Emmerich, and she gets over, moves over near Val here, but still with an area to escape, if need to be. Eye to the road, and but she does sit down, and she does accept the food offered.
He'll stand beside her and but like slightly behind.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably not going to sit down.
Okay.
Yeah, Valentina's sitting at the campfire, eating, drinking.
Okay, well, if he's the only one standing, then he has to sit down.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or he'll feel awkward.
All right, that's cool. I forgot that I had a handout for their horses too, so here you go.
Horsies! Ooh.
Pretty horsies.
They got socks.
Yes, they do. They're not huge. They're, like small draft horses, but, they're pretty. So, tell me all about yourselves. And, the others are introducing themselves to you, to each of you. And he says, please tell us your names and why you have come here. Or anything like that, or where you are from.
The village of Barovia.
So, not far then.
Oh, I'm from Immel.
Oh. I tell you, did you travel the entire way with the other Vistani?
Most of the way. I had to spend one night on my own. It was fortunate that I ran into them, I suppose.
I suppose so. It's dangerous alone out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I forgot what I was going to say. So that's good. Standomir's old, like the DM, and sometimes forgets what he was going to say. People seem they're like dancing, occasionally dancing with each other. They're playing music. They're eating and drinking too. Interacting with you occasionally, just not doing a whole bunch of conversation. But Standomir is definitely there, keeping the attention of you. And Ireena introduces herself as the daughter of the late burgomaster of Barovia, and she's offered condolences for her loss. And Standomir says that he was a good man. And she nods and things like that. So tell me. You came all the way from Immel, which means through the hills or the mountains. What made you go such a distance alone?
My brother needs my help.
That's always a noble reason. Help your family. Certainly something we believe in. Oh, I forgot again. I'm good. Okay. Oh yes, I was going to ask. He asks the family name of the Vistani you had encountered.
The Bogarath? Am I saying that right?
Bogarath. Yeah.
They told me I could say I was a friend of theirs.
Oh, well, excellent. Tell me, did you meet Captain Elias?
Yes, he was very kind.
Oh, he's a good man. I did not even know they were back in Barovia. Did they tell you where they were headed by any chance?
Yes. I know they were heading to It's in my notes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Orshnau is.
Orshnau, yeah, for a wedding in about 2 weeks.
Oh, he says, how exciting! We'll have to send our best towards them. Sorry if I come out of screen there as I get some water. I'm not even back yet. Oh, there I am. Okay.
They invited me. I might be there as well.
Oh, that's excellent. Do you know how to get to Orshnau?
I'm sure I could figure it out.
Well, you have to travel through the woods. The trails are not well traveled, but there are at least hunting paths and game trails that we sometimes will follow, both from the lake and also from the village of Barovia. But it's at the base of the mountains north of the village of Barovia.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So tell me, anybody, do you have any stories to tell? I always enjoy hearing a good story.
Well, if you don't, Emmerich, I could tell one.
He's also just kind of sitting there with like a glass of wine and a plate he's been given, but he hasn't touched either of it because so his mask is still up, so he's just sitting there awkwardly.
All right. So yeah, Valentina will tell a story. What story will she tell? She'll tell the story of the first night of her trip from Immel, where she met let's see, what happened that first day. She'll talk about how she met a strange creature with like giant, large claws and teeth, and she just nodded at it and it ran away.
Interesting. You frightened it, he says, with your mere appearance. How excellent.
I don't know if I frightened it, but sure, we'll go with that.
He laughs. Because we'll laugh from the others as well. He says, well, that was an excellent tale. Thank you for sharing it. Would you like to hear a story that I could tell?
Sure.
He says, he looks towards Emmerich and Ireena, at least first, and says, surely you remember the tale or the incident of the Mages' Rebellion last year. And Ireena nods. By the way, guys, that's where Doru was. I think that's what it was called. Where Doru...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He nods solemnly.
Okay. He says, he fills his mouth with wine and spits into the fire. The flames turn from orange to green. As they dance and sway, he begins the tale. A mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I have box text, sorry. I remember him like it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you're standing. A very charismatic man he was. He thought he could rally the people of Barovia against that Devilstrad. He stirred them with thoughts of revolt and bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. A few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. Their battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to a precipice overlooking the falls. I saw the battle with my own eyes. Thunder shook the mountainside, and great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard. Yet by his magic he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. But when the Devilstrad fell upon him, the wizard's magic could not save him. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. I climbed down to the river to search for the wizard's body, just so you know if he had anything of value. But the river Ivlis had already spirited him away.
Valentina will clap.
Okay.
Good story.
Thank you. I've been working on the presentation of that story.
Were you really there?
Yes, I was really there. Do I look like someone who would lie to you?
No, but you're a storyteller, and
That is true. But it was, if he turns to look behind him, he says, the falls themselves are merely an hour or two walk that way. So it was very close.
Didn't mention what happened to the dissenters.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, you didn't mention what happened to the dissenters.
They said they all fled. There was nothing else that he's added to that.
Yeah. No, that's what Emmerich said to him.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
He says, well, to be honest, I do not know their fates. I did see some of his wolves follow them. Sometimes some of his other minions, the other vampires. But truly I did not think it wise to stand and watch, nor pleasant to watch if they died. I hope some of them made it.
They did, but a fate worse than death.
Interesting. And you said you had no story to tell.
It is not mine to tell. Simply an add-on to yours.
He
And the
nods.
burden that lays heavy on my shoulders now.
I understand, my friend. I understand. So, like, a couple of the kids have looked kind of oddly at Emmerich and his mask, but none of the adult Vistani, like, comment on it or anything. So, just FYI.
Okay. He feels a little more comfortable at that people just are like, leaving that part alone and not like commenting on, you're not eating, you're not drinking. He's like, no.
The only person who says anything about that is Ireena, and she does it in a whisper. She's like, are you hungry? Do we need to go somewhere private so you can eat?
Maybe later.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt. He does offer his wine to her instead.
She accepts it.
Yeah. Otherwise, he just kind of pokes at the food on the plate.
Okay.
But he's trying, going back to his good old-fashioned, be as small as possible. Which is hard when you're like, what did I say he was, 6'6"?
Something like that, yeah. He's a giant.
Yeah. He big boy.
All right. So, we will leave you guys there for a bit.
Okay.
And turn to our other group.
Yay!
Okay.
We on the road?
Yes, you're on the road. Give me just a second to get to that page. There we are. Okay. You guys have walked a little bit from Valaki. Just a second, I gotta fix the stream because the stream screen. That's what I'm looking for. It suddenly did that thing where it goes gray. I don't know if you guys done that in Roll20. So I have to reload its page.
Well, has its own icon.
Yeah, my good boy.
Yee.
I stole him, but no, it's fine.
He's yours now. It's fine.
He's mine now. Yeah.
As far as anyone on this road currently is concerned, he is yours.
Honestly, I'm probably a better handler for him than the previous person. So.
So as I wait for this to load,
While it's loading, Lelena's gonna go up to the horse and just kind of like pet, but also
with a little thing called Speech of the Woods, I might be able to talk to Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need me to ping it?
Yeah, ping it. Let's see.
It says beasts.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yep. He counts.
Did you anticipate anyone talking to your horse today?
I had a druid on his. Oh goodness! I just petting him and I go, "Are you happy?"
No.
He is. He's content.
Do you like her?
Yes, he does like her.
I look at Hana and I go, "He likes you. You should keep it that way."
I will. Thank you.
Astrid just bursts out laughing at that.
Yeah.
Just yes. How far are we from the camp in terms of like hours or minutes?
It'll take you about 2.5 hours to walk there.
Because when we get closer to the camp, she's gonna have to
Put the dress back on.
yeah, and actually make her hair nice and all that.
Well, she knows that that you have to go up through the pass and then back down, and the camp is after that. So a good place may be at the once you get down back to off the pass.
Yeah,
because definitely still kind of dangerous in the woods beyond that.
she's keeping an eye out around and kind of like absentmindedly tossing the knife. And I do keep saying knife because I don't think I think we've established she doesn't have an official like dagger weapon. She just has like a little food knife or something, and that's what she's just absentmindedly flipping as she's keeping an eye out.
When I say she has a knife, it's a knife. It's a substantial knife, not a little one, but
But it is
not a butter knife.
Yeah.
It's big enough for her to be flipping, but not enough that in a fight that's what she's pulling out unless in absolute desperation.
Right.
So.
Okay. So you guys have been talking for a little bit, getting to know each other a little, getting to know Bo.
Lots of conversations.
Yeah. And but a short distance outside the walls of Valaki is a small, long abandoned hamlet. Close to the road is overgrown, fenced-in cemetery.
I'm gonna not think twice about it.
Same.
Hana won't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the cemetery's presence is not something that's new to me at all.
No.
Yeah.
I am just mentioning it for no reason whatsoever.
No reason. No, it's fine. Nah, Astrid's like, that cemetery has been there. I've probably messed with it or have specifically decided not to, depending.
I feel like cemeteries are a common occurrence in Barovia, so like,
yeah. And this is where her family has camped for, in her mind, her entire life. So like, this is not new. If there's anything spoopy about it that she wants to investigate, it's not going to be today. It's going to be a different time.
Yeah, and Hana doesn't investigate spooky unless she has to.
All right. So you guys travel up the road to the right is the direction you'll want to go.
Right.
Astrid, you're probably leading, right?
The other way, to the right, Astrid.
No. I thought this was the way that we had to go.
No.
Are we going up this way?
Yes, you're going to the right, yeah. Stay on the road, though. It's dangerous to go alone. The wolves howl in the distance. Hannah, you're a little quiet. Can you turn up your mic at all, or is something I need to?
Is that better?
A little bit. Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yeah, no, everything's up, so I'll just speak louder.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to make you uncomfortable with speaking, but I just want to make sure that everybody can hear it. So.
No, I know you're good. I tend to talk quietly too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my icon got left behind, by the way.
It shouldn't. Oh, the Raven's sitting on top of you, but other than that.
No, I mean I'm by myself. It's
No,
all like grayscale and like.
Mine did the same thing.
I had to
So
refresh
wait,
it.
yeah, you have to
I'll
refresh
refresh
it.
it.
Yeah, if it
Gotcha.
goes.
Okay.
Sometimes it does that when I change menus, unfortunately,
Gotcha.
depending on what icons are there. So yeah, just refresh the page.
No
And it'll
problem.
turn normal.
Sometimes also if it's all grayscale and you just can't see anything, if you just move your token, it'll light back up.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, my cats! Ow! We're good. The owl was because Eclipse decided to use my shoulder as a launching point with his claws.
You take 1 damage.
I take 1 damage almost every day. It's fine.
Okay.
Common occurrence.
When you get up to this point on the road, there's a break in the trees and you can see the lake Zarevich from here. Also, there is you can see an old house or building of some sort on the edge of the lake here.
I'm gonna ignore it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
like same.
Distraction, plot point, distraction, plot
Yeah.
point. And the rest of us are like, nope, we're just gonna.
That's cool.
Astrid's...
I just want to know.
Yeah, Astrid's pretty much getting more and more focused on just get to the camp.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a reason you guys are all native Barovians. You don't investigate scary things. It's okay. Not yet.
No better. We need to have a specific purpose to go poking around in things.
I think once we get to this point, Lelana's going to start paying more attention about the area around her and like just making sure everything's good. Because she's not familiar with this part.
No, she's not. All right. Follow the raven.
Following the raven.
I refreshed and my thing hasn't.
Did you try moving your token and?
No, like it hasn't reloaded.
Oh, okay.
It's still reloading. So I currently cannot move my own token. Tokane. Anyway, I don't know what that was.
So you start climbing. At this point, the road climbs out of the Valaki or Zarevich Valley, up into the hills of that are between Mount Baratok and Mount Caucasus. Where the Zavalach Pass is.
Is there anything particular that I know about this pass? Any dangers that are common knowledge or things that you always look out for?
For Vistani, no. You're fine. But that's why you always travel in groups. I mean, you know there are wolves there in the woods, and other animals, and occasionally that there are, dead things that walk, but they don't ever seem to bother Vistani. So
she's going to continue to keep a more wary eye out, but not like slow pace or anything.
Sure.
Hannah's gonna get on Bo because she's getting tired at this point.
Okay.
I don't think she can share space. Oh, I guess she can. There you go.
All right.
On the top of the horse.
Coming down, follow the little raven.
We're following the raven.
Yay!
Raven.
My brain was just trying to come up with how to do that tune.
Wherever they may go.
All right. All right.
I was trying to mash that with like Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
One second.
Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Astrid, are you still loading?
Yeah, no, mine. I just refreshed it again to see if it would.
I will move Astrid.
Showing me a lovely black screen.
Roll out, zoom out if you have just a black screen.
Yeah, you might not be in the right spot on the screen.
Oh no! It loaded now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's because I commanded the window to say, "Look here." But yeah, all right. Hey, I have pictures of the last two things, but I didn't show you. Here is a cemetery. It's nice. It's like a nice place.
Yeah, definitely where she spent so much time as a kid. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. And then this is the little building on the lake.
Oh, no.
That's good. All right. So, as you're coming up here, you see on a hill ahead of you, though not exactly directly where the path is, an old windmill. I again have a picture.
Have I seen a windmill like up close before?
Probably not.
Okay, I would probably approach it and
Is
just
this
kind
the windmill you told
Yes.
me about before?
Yep, it is.
Yeah, she's gonna grab the reins of Bo and say, do not
Hey,
get closer.
Don't grab my horse, but I won't like resist either.
That
Why?
windmill is bad news. It is
Why?
dangerous, and we
Why?
avoid it at all costs.
Why?
So that you stay alive.
Why?
Everyone who goes in does not come out. That is why. And I'm gonna keep walking. I'm gonna let go of the reins. I'm not gonna like drag her horse, because it was if you'd been on the road, she would have just like stood in front of you. But she's not just gonna jump in front of the horse, and she's just gonna keep walking down the road.
I swear, every time she gives me an answer, I get more questions.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
Of course, darling. That is the way life works. You think
boy.
you know, and then you find out how much you just really don't.
Okay, let's keep going, and I won't approach it.
I follow.
All right. Raven, where are you going? You're going over here. Do you see
Like,
the Raven?
oh yeah, the windmill that's the Vistani avoided at all costs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. Okay, so as you turn around this curve, I have a picture, but it's kind of gory. But warning, if you guys are okay with that, I'll show it to you. If not, but just a little warning for everybody here. All right, nobody said anything, so here we go.
Sorry, my cat's using the scratching post.
It's okay.
Can you stop?
Okay, gotcha.
Someone has propped up a ram's skull here on top of a pile of rotting body parts along the side of the road. The skull has been draped around with beads, flowers, and daubed in blood.
I'm gonna pull Hannah's gonna pull her cloak up over her nose and chin and just try not to vomit.
How recent does that look?
It's not old. It's probably within the last week or so.
I drew a craft of rose and I give it to Hannah. This smells better.
I'm gonna just stuff it right there.
Go ahead and give me a perception roll, Lelana.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna like unsling my shield and pull out one of the rapiers, like
19.
if active.
Okay.
On defense.
So when you're walking like in its general area, you notice that there are some druidic markings on it.
Like what?
It's actually some words in the druidic language, the secret language. It says, "Death, O promised scion of the end, bring us your many blessings. Take me, O death, and end this suffering."
Poem.
Like that.
I say it out loud. I read it out loud.
Does that mean anything to us?
No, in fact, when you look at it, it's just like it doesn't even look like it's really like words. It's just like scratches.
No, I
or
meant
marks.
when she, because she said she read it out. Does
I
that
read it
like
out loud.
saying mean anything or
Okay,
anything in
no,
that saying mean
no,
anything
you've
to
not
us?
heard that before. None of you
Great.
have.
I'm just going to continue to be observant of surroundings.
How did they look? How does it look like they died?
Give me a
Wounds
medicine
and-
roll on that.
They stopped breathing. No, I'm kidding.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably part of it.
Mm-hmm.
19.
19. Oh, you're doing good.
Why they did?
Thank you.
No beat.
It's hard to tell, but the bodies have obviously been mutilated, and taken apart after death.
Like
So
claws or teeth or
no, like with a
like
with a
weapons.
knife. Yes, but like deliberately mutilated afterwards, like with a cutting implement, beyond the weapons being sliced at them.
And do I notice any like amulets or markers of religion on any of them?
No, they're completely naked and have no items except for the few old weapons that are stuck around them, but not in any sort of illegal way. I'm sorry, I keep looking over there, and I apologize. I shouldn't do that.
I just start doing some more druid crafting. I'm making let's do a plants. Let's do some plants like greenery and stuff to kind of just make it look not so bad.
Okay.
As I'm as in character.
Who
would do this?
People.
Why?
Because people suck.
Well,
I'm just gonna glare at Lelana, like.
And on the ground around them, I'm gonna like put in the dirt the sign of the Mother
Question of who and why is most likely someone that you do not want near you. But as to who that would be, I have no idea.
It's terrible.
I say a prayer, do my marking.
I'm gonna offer up like a silent prayer to Mother Night for them, but I don't know proper whatever, so it's just gonna be like a
Yo, what up?
yo, what up, Mama? No, I'm kidding. Hey, Mother Noctum. It's gonna be like a very simple, normal, like Vistani prayer, but aimed towards Mother Night.
Cool. All right.
Are you comfortable? Yes. Yes, he is.
I think we should just move on. There's nothing more we can do.
I agree, and she's just gonna keep the rose stuff there and just try not to look at it.
All right.
Gonna keep
We're moving along with the raven.
So we're moving this way. Oh, magical. So, are we on the other side of the pass yet, or are we still in the pass?
No, you haven't even reached the top yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the other side of the pass is much to the south here. Okay, so here, jutting from higher ground on either side of the road is a pair of high stone buttresses that hang above you. They guard huge iron gates, which are flanked by two massive headless stone guardians. Drops of rain fall from the sky, and the gates silently open before you as you approach.
Is there a way to go around it?
No. Not without getting away into the wilderness.
Are there people?
Nope.
Like, do I see anyone?
You see nobody.
Does Astrid know that this is the way you have to go to get to the camp?
It is, and actually she's been through here before, and the gates, they just open for you all the time. So.
Okay.
I mean, not that you've been there a lot, but yeah, this is the way, and that's the gates open, and nobody does it. The besides the broken heads, the rest of the gates look like they're taken care of. by somebody, but it's hard to say by who.
She like steels herself and walks through and just turns back and says, "Tread carefully, but we have come through here before, and it is the only way." And then she'll keep walking.
Hannah's just gonna nod and not question it. Yep.
And we all die.
All right.
Full of new characters.
You head through, and once you're all through, the gates close behind you.
Ugh.
Even here in the mountains, the forest and the fog are inescapable. Ahead, the dirt road splits in two, widening towards the east. There you see patches of cobblestone, suggesting that the eastern branch was once an important thoroughfare. Astrid believes you're supposed to go to the south, though. He's pretty sure.
Okay.
In fact, the road to the east may be the road to the castle.
Yeah. She's gonna keep going down. And give like, I'm trying to think if she would look at it and then specifically turn away, or if she would like try to ignore that existence. I think she's going to do the latter. I think she's just going to act as if the east is not even an option.
That's good.
Keep going down south.
Okay.
And it's just following these strangers. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
You just wanted to go get a wedding dress from your family that you no longer talk to.
Everything's fine.
Oh, if only you knew half of it.
I know none of it. It's great.
Traveling along the road north of Sayre Falls Bridge, the sight of ravens and flies in the distance indicates that something has recently died here. Something large.
I'm going to pointedly not look at anything and just trust these two to carry me in the right direction, basically.
I'm gonna, if she allows it, I'm going to take Beau's reins at this point and like just gently lead the horse.
It definitely it's funny that Beau is even more bothered by this than he was the a big pile of corpses. This bothers Beau, and you can probably see maybe why as you get closer to it. It's a dead horse on the side of the road. A bit not as small as Beau, but a big draft horse. A Barovian draft horse.
Does it look like the horse was attacked or just?
You'd have to go closer to look, but if you want to, you're welcome to.
If I sense hesitation, Lelana will go.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with Beau and Hana.
I'll go.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a medicine roll or a perception roll or both.
Medicine's better. 19 again.
Yee.
Man.
I know.
You
I'm gonna start rolling badly once we're in combat.
You can tell this horse has been dead for a couple days, but you could tell that its throat was slit.
With a knife?
No, it looks like with sharp, elegant claws.
Okay.
Animal.
Okay.
We're on some hunting grounds here.
Is there anything on it that, how do I say this delicately? Any components that someone like me might want from this animal?
Repurpose the horse.
we do that with animals, not with humans.
Yes. And as being a domestic animal, it's not as just doesn't have the magic to it as a wild animal would. So you're welcome to take something from it, but I have no specific advice.
Turn symbol.
Yeah.
Keep walking.
Okay. You also notice that there are tracks that lead away from it into the woods. So.
What kind of tracks?
Oh, that's a good question. There are hoof marks and wagon treads, actually, leading into
leading into the woods.
Yeah, into the underbrush. But yeah,
that's not a good sign.
Yeah,
they're probably dead too. Do your people use these kind of horses?
Yeah, this is not the kind of horse that Astrid would use, but it's definitely the kind of horse that Hana sees around Vallaki and Kretsk a lot. So
it's a traveler's horse, but it's not Vistani specifically.
Hannah's not going to really put the two together right now. It's just kind of shaken.
Mm-hmm.
Stare at the sky, stare at the clouds.
I mean, I was asking specifically.
Yeah.
Is this a horse of your people?
This is not ours. And whoever went into those woods,
which is why I asked.
Not alive. And if they are, God, the gods rest their souls.
I didn't want anybody to be missing. Okay, we can move along.
All right.
Most Vistani know better, and those that don't still know better and choose not to. But it's said in a very laughing at herself way.
Yeah.
I'm not calling other people stupid. I'm going, I've done the dumb shit.
I'm calling myself stupid.
And then we'll keep going down the path.
All right.
We going across the bridge, or are we going down southeast?
You're going across the bridge. And I will explain why in just a second.
Magic.
Hold on. I should change that. There we go. Okay. You follow the dirt road as it clings to the side of a mountain and ends before an arching bridge of mold-encrusted stone that spans a natural chasm. Gargoyles cloaked in black moss perch on the corners of the bridge, their frowns weather-worn. On the mountainous side of the bridge, a waterfall splits into a misty pool nearly 1,000 feet below. That's why you're not going down, or to that area, because it's 1,000 feet below you. And the pool feeds a river that meanders to the fog-shaded pines that blanket the valley. So here's a picture of the falls.
Oh. I think as that becomes the sight that they can see, Astrid's gonna stop and appreciate it for a minute. Because it's so nice and it's not spoopy.
Yeah, and since you're leading Hannah, or Bo, I should say, she'd stop too. Kind of try and take in some of the probably wet, sort of moving air from the, current of the water and things like that. Just cleanse everything that she just saw from her brain.
She's just gonna whisper to herself, going, "Not everything in Barovia is cursed," and then begin moving again.
Yeah. So Astrid knows that if you climbed down this cliff, you would only be a mile from the camp, but it's 1,000 feet. So
1,000 feet. Plus we have horse. Plus I don't really want to climb right now. Yeah, let me real quick just scale this rock face and then get all dolled up, show up with bloody knees and cut up hands, hi guys.
In a wet dress.
Well, the thing is, it's not a white dress. It's a very colorful wet dress. Yeah, no, I'm ready for the celebration. Yeah, no, she's on a. I bet you that at some point previously when they went through, she tried to and then got in trouble.
Yeah.
And got yelled at or silently scolded visually by mom or yelled at by uncle. One of the two.
Or both.
Yeah, or both. Sorry, my cat's sneezing behind me. One day though, she'll actually try and scale it.
On a high point in Zavalish Pass, near the falls of the River Ivlis, stands an ancient watchtower among the ruins of a larger structure, looming over a flat, grassy yard, scattered with rusted armor and blades and old bones. The glint of light momentarily shines from the top of the tower.
What kind of light is it? Like a reflective
Yeah,
surface?
yeah,
Or-
like something is reflected off of it for something up there for a second.
Okay. Do I see any other movement?
No, you do not see any other movement.
Okay.
What does Astrid know of this tower?
Only that it's old and has been here for a very long time. You've never seen or heard about the glint of it. I keep looking to the left to talk to you guys because I've got the stream up over there. So even though instead of looking at the camera, because I've got two maps up, so sorry.
I'd like to look at it,
Mhm.
if that's okay, Astrid, Hana.
To get closer?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any issue with that.
I don't know if specifically for the tower why not to, but that glint was not there before.
It only shows for just a minute and then it disappears too. So
Yeah. The only concern I would have is if there's someone up there who does not want to be seen, so we would then go find.
What if it's more friends?
She
Do you
could just-
believe it would be?
I didn't know I'd meet you yesterday.
If it is more friends, and we go to the camp and we talk to Madame Eva, and she tells us to find more, and directs us that direction, I would be all for it. But as of now, she is my next stop, my next goal in terms of finding friends. And maybe we'll run into more on the way.
5 minutes. And Lelana starts walking. 5 minutes.
I just look at Hannah.
Yeah.
So she'll lead Bo, or if Hannah wants to lead her own horse, she can, but I'll follow after Lelana, but still not mind made up if she's gonna go into the tower with Lelana.
Okay. So you get up to the tower. It looks, it definitely still looks old, and but at its time it probably was well built and has a good overlook of the pool and the cat butts and
Kitty.
I'm just teasing you. I'm sorry. And while it's a little wobbly, you probably could climb up. There's a ladder to the top.
Before I do, I go, hello, in the various languages that I know.
You are not answered in any of those languages.
Or any language?
Or any language, yes.
Okay.
And,
Now that we're closer, can I do a perception check up to where we saw the glint?
sure, you can do that. And also, if you want to look, if anybody wants to make a history check, when they're looking at it, they can do that too.
Okay.
Sure.
What I need is my cats to
My storms.
not be in front of the computer. Move your butt. Okay. Perception is +3.
Oh.
22.
Nice.
22 total.
And you didn't check, right? I know.
I did out of 7. It was bad.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. So, looking at it, Astrid realizes that this the style of architecture and building was as it was built by the Turks, who were the that's Tergs. They were the people. Tergs. They were the people who occupied Barovia when Strahd came to reconquer it.
Oh.
And that was like 400 years ago.
So this be old.
Mm-hmm.
Old tower. Okay.
Climbing.
Okay. You didn't see anything else when you looked around either. So, okay. When you get to the top, you find a long brass like cylinder, like about this long, and it's kind of like it's pointing up at the sky, and then like it narrows down to the bottom into about this big down at the bottom.
What are on the ends?
Glass.
Does it like move? Is it heavy?
No, not too heavy, but it's attached to the top of the tower. Like it goes like this, you know?
Okay. I don't think I've seen anything like this before.
You have not, no.
What is this? It's a tube.
How high up in the air is she right now from us? Like is she yelling it down to us?
Yeah,
Yes, I am. I would say it so you could hear me. I'd be like, look at this. What is this?
It's like 15.
Tube.
15 feet up.
I don't know.
I look in the one end.
Okay. You look in the one end, and what you see, you see in the other end is like what you can see from the watchtower, but bigger, but closer. And
some weird magic.
Yes, and but when you look at it, besides it being closer, you can also see it also is like a terrible strong thunderstorm in what you're looking at, but there's no real thunderstorm out there.
Can I see what time of day it is through this thing?
Given you're a druid, I'll let you do that. That's no problem. It looks like the same time of day as right now. It's just like now, but it's raining really hard. And thunderstorming.
I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through it. It makes things far away really close, and it's raining?
Can you see the camp?
I move it.
Yes, you can see the camp, and it's raining in the camp.
It's raining at the camp.
But I don't see any
rain.
raining.
It's not rain.
It's drizzling where you are, but it's like a thunderstorm in the
it's like a lot.
Can you bring it down?
How attached is it?
It's not attached enough that you couldn't bring it down.
I unattach it.
Okay.
Is it like how big are we talking?
It's Jack Sparrow trying to compensate big.
No.
Like,
oh God, I can't change that.
Does it crunch down?
No, it doesn't collapse. We don't have that kind of technology yet. Sorry, you guys saw my other window. That was embarrassing.
You're good.
I'm checking to see how big it is. Give me just a second. So, it's long. It's about 6 feet long, and well, maybe more like 4 feet long, and it's probably. I'm sorry.
We might have to tie this to Bo.
But it's not that heavy. It's like 5 or 6 pounds.
I put it on the end of a rope and I lower it down because there's no way I can.
Okay.
I'm afraid I'm gonna break it, so I lower it down to them, let them untie it, get my rope back, go down the ladder.
And while she's like climbing down, I'm looking through everything through it.
Yeah.
And then I'll like try looking through both ends, like flipping it.
I'm like
So-
leaning over, trying to like get
like,
in
hold
on
it
it,
up so
but
that
not
you can.
directly asking.
If I see that, I'll just hold it up so that you can look through.
Basically, everything when you look through it through the little end is like 3 times bigger, except it's the thunderstorm wherever you're looking. When you're looking from the big end, everything is 3 times smaller, but it's a sunny day out.
Oh. What? She'll like make sure to show Hannah the one that shows 3 times, so looking through the big end, and be like, this is what Barovia can have again. The sun.
The sun. And I look through.
Everything's very tiny, but it's sunny.
She's just gonna kind of stare at it for a second. What happens if she is so it's like kind of like if you turn it, you can see wherever you're pointing at, right?
Yeah.
So what happens
telescope
if
that
I
shows.
turn it kind of towards the castle?
You
Castle or the tower?
you can't really see the castle from here inside
Okay.
the small view because it's
So tiny.
yeah. By the
What-
way,
What if I flip it?
if you flip it, then you can definitely see the castle, but it's storming heavy thunderstorms when you flip it to the head end.
Scooby-Doo Haunted Mansion.
By the way, this is what the view was from the top of the tower.
Oh, I saw the castle from there?
Yeah.
Oh,
She would have stayed up there for an extra couple minutes just looking at that then.
that's so pretty.
Hannah will give it back to Astrid.
Question: did anybody look at any of their companions with the scope?
I'll probably like watch
No.
Lelana coming down with it.
Okay. So when you look at Lelana coming down, she not only does she look like she's being rained on, like really heavily, she also looks translucent, like not fully, like you can kind of see through her.
I'll turn it on Hannah then.
Hannah looks solid.
I'll flip it around and look through the other end at Hannah.
Same way, you know.
Back at Lelana, she's translucent.
Yeah.
Hannah's gonna gently like push it back
Push it
every
away.
time. Yeah.
I'll just be, oh, sorry, and then flip it around. Oh, sorry.
Doing?
You are see-through?
Huh.
That is your response to me saying I can see through you, almost as if you were a ghost.
Yeah.
And then thinks about which card it was that she said was her, and just shuts up on that.
It's weird magic.
Very weird. Oh, this will be fun. And then she'll go ahead and ask Hannah if she can tie it to Bo, but if not, Astrid will carry it.
It's very light.
Yeah, Hannah would let her.
Well, let's attach it to Bo.
It's just clunky to carry.
I tell Bo to be careful with it. It's weird magic, but they're safe.
I can't believe you're actually talking to my horse.
Is there anything you want them to know?
No.
Such a pained sound.
Okay.
No, not that I think of it, no.
Okay. Well, if you think of something, let me know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me. Keep going down the road.
All right.
Down this way.
Yes.
Yes.
I will bring the raven. There. Ta-da.
Hi, Raven. Please come join me.
Then here.
And we're continuing into this path.
Yes.
Okay.
This is where it starts to go down. So.
Okay.
But you haven't. But there's still some ways down. But this is where it's starting. The path is starting down.
I'd say probably like around here-ish.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to just stop, sigh, unbuckle her breastplate, pull out the dress, flip it, like, you know, like shake out the wrinkles, make all the jangly janglies. And then go ahead and change into it properly. Like, once it's on, go ahead and, you know, no hidden outfit underneath. Go ahead and, like, pull out a comb and, like, not brush through her hair because it's curly and that's going to be the stupid thing, but, like, use it to just, like, find any, like, knots of, like, twig or leaf, or comb the ends of it just a little bit. Do a flip, grab some, like, just from her water, or from her, like, water. Oh, Heather has a word for water pouch.
Water skin?
Thank you. I was like, there's a word for this.
Believe me,
like,
I understand that.
And, like, wash her face just a little bit and make sure her ribbon is nice and secure and prettily tied, and put both rapiers, like, in, like, a strap on the side of her bag, and the shield back on the bag, and the cloak in the bag, and wipe off the mud from her shoes, and actually make herself look nice. Not just, look, I'm in the thing, like she was the day before, but, like, actually presentable, and looks that weird combination of, like, somebody who is in garb that they're not used to, that you're not used to seeing them in, like when the tomboy dresses up for prom, but they know how to move in it and they know how to hold themselves in it, and then the look on their face is just like, I hate this, but I can do it. It's a performance. It's fine. But
Astrid, what's your favorite flower?
I know what Heather's is, but I don't. Are there lilies in Barovia?
Sure.
Yay! A lily.
I make a lily for you.
Okay.
Hannah's gonna stare at Lelana, like, fascinated but also terrified.
Just all the flowers. Astrid's gonna take it and, like, tuck it behind the ear in terms of, like, placement, but so the lily is, like, right here. But, like, hair is still down, and she'll actually, like, pay attention a little bit to making sure it's not just all right.
You look pretty, Astrid. But I know you don't want to. It doesn't look like you want to be here.
I have no issue visiting the camp. It is the purpose that I must come that is not what I wish. But not... There is a duty to it, and I recognize that, and I will honor that. But I would rather be escorting someone else instead of being the one that all the attention is for. Yes.
I understand.
At least if my cousin had come, it would be for both of us. Both the attention would be on both of us in the undesirable way.
If you want, I can bring up Berez again, and then it wouldn't matter.
I would not, except to Madame Eva. Okay. And only if she asks.
They seem to pay attention to that, which is why I offer.
But not the attention you want, I fear. And a little more dangerous than the attention I do not want. And then I'll continue. And definitely walking slower, like... trying to appear cool, calm, collected without stalling.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I don't want it to be like that. She's now walking super girly or anything, but she's walking very comfortable and confident and not hiking the skirt up and like
Mm-hmm.
actually trying to be presentable, genuinely trying to be presentable. Knowing what her mom's face would be if she wasn't. And we'll continue down the path.
Right.
Yeah. And then,
When you reach here, where my little raven is, just before the road is about to, or right at the end of where it ends at the passage, you're going back to a level ground. The remains, you find the remains of a roadside shrine. The wilds have been slowly reoccupying the site.
Kind of what?
say that again? What?
I said just before the road,
Yeah.
you see the remains of an old roadside shrine.
Shrine. Okay.
Yeah. You can't really tell what the shrine of without doing more investigating of it. It doesn't, it's ruined enough that you can't tell from the side. So,
Can I do a check on it?
yeah, you guys are going to examine it.
Okay.
Okay. So, when you see the shrine and you look in there, you don't have to roll anything. There are 2 altars inside of it, one to the Morning Lord and one to Mother Night.
Oh. I think Ash
I do my prayer thing.
will look at her skirt and find, like, in the back one of the coins that could be missing potentially without any issue, and cut it off and put it in there for Mother Night.
Okay.
And then continue.
All right.
But like, when she does that, it's not just a here you go. It's like kind of like she acknowledges both, so she doesn't ignore the Morning Lord, because who knows. But then specifically does that and puts it in, and then continues.
Okay. All right. So, you continue and you come to the same crossroads that our other friends were at earlier, with the gallows. You don't see anything in the gallows.
And she's been past. This is the way to the king, so she just keeps going.
Yeah, she knows that actually you turn left at the gallows and go up towards the river or the thing, and that's your.
Oh, I want to move.
All right.
Into the water. No, I'm kidding.
And we will put you in here. 1 second.
We're gonna actually meet each other, guys.
Yay!
It only took a whole session and a half. That's what we get for being chatty.
Wow.
And picking up telescopes.
So many sites we could have stalled at.
Is it gonna be like the Spider-Man meme? Just
I think maybe when we see your amulet, probably.
Yeah, you have no idea, let me tell you what.
We just pull out our swords and start attacking. Okay. We're actually here to kill everyone! Yeah!
I can't see anything. No.
Oh no!
And the moving trick isn't working. Okay, refresh time.
Oh, I forgot about the shadow changing. Just gonna keep.
All right. So, when you get close, by the jangling of your dress, there's a loud yeah, and you guys are still hanging out by the fire and have been conversationing or not, as you would. The other two of
My
you.
heart just started pounding.
Yeah.
As we approach, I just look at Hana and go, they're very welcoming. So, it's okay.
I'm gonna get off Bo and just very smiling but death grip on the reins.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like
will
perfectly otherwise calm,
turn to both
collected.
of you and say, there will be attention to you because you are guests, but I believe that most of the attention will be on me, at least after introductions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you need a way out, you can use me as an excuse.
Or me. I'm also a weird one. So.
I do not mind. I love the other families. I do not mind being at another camp. I am not shy to be around people. I just wish I will be excited when I am allowed to dress as myself again. And be here as a guest and not as a guest of honor.
I understand.
And then
Okay.
can, I guess, just continue. And what do I know, like, the typical routine? Do I just walk into camp and just start to talk to people, or
right? Yes. I mean, when you walk into camp, you can tell who is dressed there to be, because some of them are dressed in like their normal traveling things, and then some of the guys are dressed,
nicely.
Nicely, and that I will point them all out to you.
Yeah. No. And our first contestant.
Yeah, no, it it really is. It feels very much like Shrek and the mirror of like, and this.
I think you should go for the one who looks like Flynn Rider with a braided beard or whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna entirely matter about personality. It's gonna be the
not that one.
Yeah.
All right.
This sweetheart.
All right. I'm gonna tell you. You guys can introduce yourself, but I'm gonna go through Astrid, through them, and explain their personalities to them. So to her. So if she wants to do that. By the way, Hana, the young boy, who's like 13 or so, he offers to take care of your horse, like like a groom would, if you want to.
Yeah. No. Thank you, honey, and I'll let him take the take the horse. Yeah.
Yeah, he takes Bo over to the river where he can drink and graze, and cleans them up for you. He seems to really like horses. So
cool.
Okay, so our first contestant, I feel like Chuck Woolery, not the crazy modern Chuck Woolery, but back when he was normal. Never mind. This is Armand. Armand is he's 29. He is the son of the captain, and you can get the impression definitely that he's a little bit of a hedonist. So he likes the finer things in life. All right, then we have.
She's also. I don't know how each one of them would try and greet her. But she's going to try and do a normal handshake.
Okay.
Every single one of them, if they try to take her hand at all, she's not going to let it be a yep, no. It's going to be a handshake, and she's going to judge their reaction to it.
Yeah. All of them. So he seems interested, and he'll take your hand and shake it. Let me put it that way. Then, actually, the second person who you meet is Ursula. She is 60, and she is going to introduce you to her boys.
Thank you for not saying bachelor number 2, Ursula. Yeah. I'd be like,
No. So, yes, and her boys are good old Grigori. Grigori he is 40 years old, and he seems he's dressed in a nice clothes. He's got his nicest clothes on, and he seems interested, but wary.
Good.
Yeah, and but he's just very nice. If you want to make insight checks on anybody, let me know. Then we have Stefan.
If you're okay with it, I'll probably like let you get through the list and then pick the ones that she would maybe be at all interested,
no
and
problem.
then insight check them so
Sure.
that it's not like every single.
This Ursula's other boy, Stefan. He's a little younger than Grigori, and he is the kind of guy you can tell that 5 years ago he was a catch, but now he's starting to get old. So
when you say a little younger, is he like 5 years younger than his brother, or like 10 years younger than his brother?
No, he's 35. So, but he's the kind of guy. He was quite the looker when he was a little younger. He's gotten some scars since then. He's aged a little bit. So,
and for reference for you guys and for the audience, she's 25. She's not like 18 trying to be introduced to all of these people. She's 25, so 40 is still
okay.
Probably not. 35 is. We'll see. We'll talk.
All right.
We'll see.
Right.
Scars aren't a problem for her unless it's like potentially if you look at her, she wants to also stab you because of the positioning of this. But just having scars is not going to be a problem for Astrid.
Okay. This is.
Also, currently, 100% of the awkwardness that happens on screen is me. And then I'll tell you what her actual response is.
The man on the right side is Ratka. He's Stanomir's son, and he's 28, and he is ambitious and definitely dressed well. And then finally,
he looks like someone she would pull a prank on just to wipe the smirk off his face.
Yeah. Finally, there's Marco. Marco is 21. He is the youngest son of the captain, and he like seems a little shy to come up to you. And at that point, Armand says, "What's the problem, Marco? Yeah, I know why you're afraid. She looks like she could beat the crap out of you." And Marco just kind of goes, and Armand says, "Don't worry, you would probably like that." And Marco's like,
I will walk past Marco, but as I do, I'll just like pat him on the cheek and go, "Don't worry, I do it gently," and keep going.
He like flushes, totally red. So, like really embarrassed. Those are your options, my friend.
Yeah. Can I insight check? Armand was the first one, right? That's the older brother.
No, Armand, the older brother. Armand was the weird grinner. The older brother was Grigori. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. No, not the older brother. Sorry, the older son of the captain.
The older son of the captain, yes, was Armand.
Yeah. Okay. So Armand and Stefan, because genuinely, age puts the other two out. Okay. And this is a Heather philosophy, and it's going to become an Astrid philosophy. There's not going to be I'm going to get in a relationship with somebody who is so shy and nervous about my presence because I will break them and I'm not going to tiptoe. But maybe we can be friends and help you not be so shy and timid, hence the joke. No.
Yeah. And
not gonna date somebody who's 15 years her senior.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a couple insight rolls then.
Welcome to D&D.
Roll to seduce.
Well, Well, I rolled a 5 on Armand. It's gonna tell me so much about him.
Yeah, so Armand seems relaxed and happy. He offers her wine. Definitely, he obviously enjoys drinking, not in the I'm getting drunk kind of way, but in the I'm enjoying the taste of the wine. So, what do you want? What else would you like to pretend you know about him with that roll?
Pretend I know about
Yeah,
him?
with the roll of 5. Yeah. What kind of other things were you looking for about him? So,
how he holds himself is gonna be the big one.
He holds himself as a guy who, it's hard to get a real tough read on it, a great read on him. He doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy who's gonna be captain one day. Like, he's happy to be in the role in the middle like he is,
Okay. When he hands her the wine, she's just gonna, like, take it graciously, make eye contact, and down it, and then hand it back to him.
That makes him laugh. But not really his style. He says, so I like to taste the flavor sometimes. You don't have to take it all at once.
She'll just laugh at that.
Yeah.
Because the question, like, she's doing the things that are, yes, her, but also specifically not the nice little ladylike whatever engaging response. So the fact that he wasn't like, oh no, it was like, okay, we can you're not being a complete asshole. All right. I'm gonna insight check Stefan. Yes, a 10.
Yeah, no worries. So Stefan,
thought it was a 1 for a second, and I was concerned.
When you first meet him, he's eating an apple, and he offers you an apple as well. He seems more interested in you than his older brother is, and he makes some jokes about his mother wanting him out of the Vardo. So, he seems like a decent enough guy, from what you can tell.
How does he hold himself?
He holds himself like, it's really hard to tell, to be honest. He doesn't hold himself like, he seems kind of, I don't know if sneaky is the right word, but he's not a boisterous or outgoing person, but he's not bothered by that either. He's just kind of, you know what I'm saying. He's not Astrid, so he's not Astrid, but seems like he might be cool to hang out with Astrid and be, you know what I'm saying. Like they're not going to probably get into big fights and yelling angry fights. He seems more like the kind of guy who would, if you got angry, do a sneak trick later. So.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm also reading the chat right now.
It's okay.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Uh-huh.
Something tells me, based off of these two sessions, that the source of most of the ships are gonna somehow involve Astrid. It's fine. It's great. Hopeless romantic plus secondhand embarrassment. Just really, it's a great combination. Yeah, I think the only one that's in any way a serious contender at all is going to be Armand.
Okay.
That's the only one that she's like, you're in any way an option. I love your face. Yeah, because you need to have a backbone. You need to be able to keep up. You need to not be somebody that she can just steamroll over. And part for the two brothers that aren't the captain's kids, Mom making a joke about getting you out of the Vardo is not gonna be the way to make her want to take you seriously.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Armand continues to be in any way a contender. He's the only one she's even like slightly like, okay, well, let's try this. Let's see.
Yeah.
How this goes.
So yeah, Armand will spend some time with you. He'll talk. He dance if you'll dance. Plenty of wine, and everybody's laughing. A couple of the guys look relieved when you don't really show any interest in them, and but he
He'll
seems to be enjoying
continue
himself.
teasing his younger brother.
Yeah.
But very, very much like like the older sibling teasing the other one about a crush.
Yeah.
Except that she is the source of, so it's that very weird, like, I'm making you uncomfortable, I'm teasing you on purpose, but I'm not letting you think that you're an option, but I'm pulling you out of your shell. I'm gonna make this a little uncomfortable for you. But if he at any point shows like serious, I'm not okay with this, she'll ease off.
Okay. So at some point he starts to stammer and stutter, and Armand says, "Okay, he needs a break now."
And she'll just laugh and go, "Okay." And just leave him alone, but not like ignore him, but it's definitely like, yeah, that's she's not gonna tease him for cruelty's sake.
Yeah, you have to leave it at 9:30. You said, right?
9:30 Central.
Okay.
So I still have like over an hour and a half.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It's almost 8 my time.
Yeah, good. Awesome. So the other rest
of sorry, guys, I gotta go. They called me in early. No.
Yeah. So while this goes on, Hana definitely notices, especially Ireena and Val, who look like Barovians. Emmerich does too, but he's got the mask on, so.
Yeah.
And so just tell me what you guys want to do. They're celebrating. They're giving you food. They're giving you wine. Having, a good time.
You said we noticed Ireena?
You definitely noticed Ireena. And, okay, go ahead.
I grab Hana when I see Ireena.
Okay.
Like on the arm.
Oh.
Like out of instinct.
Okay.
Okay.
Funny.
I'm gonna gently hands on yours. And just, yeah.
And Val and Emmerich, when you see Lelana, she looks like the girl who you saw hanged out in the at the crossroads.
He puts a hand on Ireena's arm. Not like as aggressively as Lelana, but he like does it and is like pointedly looking towards them. So
Ireena's a little freaked out by it, but Lelena's a little intimidating anyway.
I'm gonna do Eyes of the Grave again, just to be sure.
Okay.
We all just think you're undead,
No, she's alive. Right
He's
now.
like narrowing his eyes, like, what is this? What is happening? What?
Wait, am I there, or are you saying this is just Ireena?
You're a little closer to the fire and stuff. Ireena's just the one that was sitting next to me.
Okay.
So,
Hana is going to be going a bit hard on the wine.
Okay.
And
Great.
Just gonna stay with Lelana and just be very awkward, but very like a switch. She just becomes very friendly and knows what to say whenever anyone approaches her. But the moment they're gone, she just goes back to being like extremely nervous and awkward and just nervously going at drinking, eating whatever she's put in front of her, basically.
As much as possible, Astrid's gonna like make sure, just keep like an eye and make sure that nobody's being disrespectful or problematic, especially the people that Astrid has now ignored. And she's not going to get drunk.
Okay.
She's specifically not going to just party, but she's going to have a couple glasses. Outside of that first one that she downed, she will actually just nurse the drink throughout the night.
If Lelana can
to have no.
If Lelana can get Astrid's attention, she's just looking at her and just shaking her head. And she's like pulling away from herself, almost like sinking in. Like,
so both the goths are looking like they've seen ghosts.
Have I made notice of any of the people around the campfire?
Oh, you certainly can have. Mostly, though, the Vistani are paying attention to you. And to what you're doing and like that. And they're not really as paying attention to the Barovians that are over here. So
I'm gonna try and for at least a second break away and go to Lelana. Because I'm not really gonna have paid much attention to Val or Ireena. But Emmerich, you're wearing Mother Night amulet, right?
Yes, it's partially covered by his like shawl thing, but anytime he moves, you're gonna see this a sizable Mother Night amulet.
And it's one that it's a symbol that her brain is already more trained to pick out. So she's actually already gonna try and find Lelana just for a minute and then see that you're freaked out. And say, what's wrong?
The redhead.
Hannah's gonna look over that one.
Yeah, there's two redheads here, so.
I point at the. I point at the
Ireena.
one who's not Val.
Ireena.
Right, but we don't know that.
What is wrong? What about her?
I used to know her.
Do you need to leave?
I look at Astrid and I go, I used to know her.
Will she know you?
No.
Do you need...
I don't know how this happened. She should not be
For
here.
now, if she does not know you, I would observe. And we can untangle this when celebration is not happening, and perhaps with Mother Eva's clarification.
And maybe catch me up?
Also, did you see the one who was wearing an amulet of the mother?
No. I've been a bit distracted.
I mean, he's sitting right next to her, so
Yeah.
he big boy.
When you know, you'll know.
I believe he is friend.
Except he's looking at Lelana, also freaked out.
Oh yeah, no. She's not thinking like, oh, he thinks we're friends. It's very much. This is now like the code word for the. I think might as well just pull out the cards and be like, I think he's a friend. No, but.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I believe he's friend, but I cannot talk to him right now. And then she'll like look around and go like, where did the people? Okay, and then go and do the thing that she'd like stepped away to do, whether it's like to get another drink or something, and then go back and join.
When she leaves, I turn to Hana and I go,
Do you want me to talk to him?
I mean,
will you be okay here? I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I don't know what I'm doing here.
These hands,
lovely,
are not mine.
They're not yours?
Oh, what the?
Her hands used to be mine.
It used to be.
I know it's
li-
weird,
little-
and I don't
it's your-
want to. I'm a little. I don't know how to
Thanks, guys, for talking.
tell you what's going on without worrying you or making you upset in any way. And I'm trying to be kind. I've been told I need to work on it.
Okay.
So
You ask a question, you get more questions.
It's-
That's fine.
weird. It's very weird, and I don't want to freak you out. Okay?
You can tell me whatever you're comfortable with telling me. I would never pressure you into telling me anything you do not want to share.
She should not look like what she looks like.
Okay. Okay. Have some wine.
You know
Have some
what?
wine.
Yeah. No.
I'll give her another glass.
I've never drank before, but yes.
It's good. I recommend it.
Yeah.
Gets me through a lot. Here. And then let's sit down, and then when you collect yourself, you can tell me what you need me to do to make this easier for you. Okay?
Emmerich is sitting next to Ireena and is trying to throw food at Val to get her attention.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So she'll finally like turn around and be like, I don't think she would have noticed because her wisdom is pretty low. But then she'll
here.
see Lelana and be like,
At this
hiding.
point, Hannah's noticing this trio starting to wig out too.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Let me tell you what Ireena does, by the way. So Ireena looks at Lelana, and obviously she freaks out for a little bit, but then pointedly ignores her. And also, in the way, like, I'm not seeing that. I did not see that woman just be dead, so I'm going to ignore it. It didn't happen. That kind of way. She gives
Nice and
Hana a look like, you look like somebody I know, but she can't place it. And then, but other than that, she's mostly letting Emmerich and Val do what they do.
But she's not looking at Lelana like you're somebody I've known in a previous something.
Nope.
Oh goodness.
all right, so Valentina is just gonna get up and walk right over to Lelana.
Okay. Hannah's gently gonna kind of step between them. Be like, hello. Are you an outsider as well?
Emmerich is head in hands.
To the Vistani? Yes.
Well, what a coincidence. Where are you traveling from?
Emil.
Okay.
From where? I butted. Emil?
I was hoping to talk to you, actually.
Why?
Well, so she says in an undertone, she goes, do you know magic?
Why?
Well, we ran into a very interesting illusion of you earlier this evening.
What do you mean?
It looked just like you. You were hanging from the gallows at the crossroads.
Don't just say that to people.
It's fine.
She's obviously
fine.
alive.
I'm gonna touch Lelena's arm like.
She has no clue. She's off dancing right now.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh goodness.
he's doing the sign over and over. He's just
I know
May
that
I-
was a little blunt, and I apologize, but
No,
I didn't know how else to put it.
You're not offending me.
Oh,
You're not offending me. You're fine.
blessed.
I appreciate your honesty. Others would tiptoe around that, so I appreciate it.
But if that wasn't you, then you didn't.
Well, the gal you're traveling with is technically also not alive.
Ireena?
She,
Right
she tries to
it.
smile. She tries to smile. It's like,
She is very much alive and a very nice woman.
yeah.
Is Ireena over with Emmerich right now?
Yes.
We're sitting next to each other away
It's not
from the
that far.
fire.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Just
we could take a
watching.
walk by the river and you could explain to me what you're talking about.
Okay.
Wait, should I stay here?
You can come if you want.
Whatever
That way
you
I don't
need.
have to, like, say a lot twice.
You're still gonna have to explain because you and I haven't actually talked about the things.
Hannah doesn't know what is happening. She just wants to make sure.
Hannah has more clarification than Astrid does. Astrid just has an understanding that it's more.
And I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name is Lelana.
Lelana.
And I'm Hannah.
Hannah, okay. I'm Valentina Gwillem.
Nice to meet you.
Do I know that surname at all?
You don't. Hannah, give me a history roll, Mike.
History.
Oh. I think
That's
I know
a
it.
natural 20.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you definitely know the name Gwillem. You know that there was a Gwillem who was a trusted lieutenant of Strahd a long time ago. And remember what I told you earlier about when you heard the name too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, that happens too. Yeah.
I think. Wait.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have to clarify later, but
Okay.
yeah. I have it in my notes though. So.
Yeah, okay.
If we go to the river. So, this body is not mine. This is I was dead for like I think when I last counted it was 185 years.
Is anyone watching us or listening in? I'm gonna
Not that you
keep a
can
lookout.
see from here.
Okay.
So
This body is my mother's.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because my body was badly burned when I died and should not exist. And yet you travel with it.
Oh.
Wants to be there, but Astrid has no clue and doesn't know about this and is
It's
dancing and trying to.
Do you
not
have
be
any?
awkward and-
Do you have any proof of this? I mean, you must know what this sounds like, right?
Yeah, probably not very accurate or true. Proof. Not that I need what kind of proof? What do you, I didn't carry around my death certificate. Like, what do you want?
Well, it sounds like you're possessing your mother's body.
Mother Knight offered to me.
I don't know if that's enough for me.
I could probably do something, but I don't know if these people would like it.
What do you mean, do something?
How far away are we from everybody? What'd you say?
it's far as you guys want to be, nobody keeps you from
Okay,
walking
cool.
away.
Cool. Far enough away.
Mm-hmm.
I start making markings in the dirt. I'm gonna try to do a parlay with the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
I pinged it. I don't know if this is gonna do anything. I start making markings and rituals in the dirt, and I'm just like, hold, give me one. Okay, 1 second. I'm doing it with the end of my quarterstaff.
I'm keeping a lookout, like a very close lookout. The moment I think that there's attention being drawn, I'm gonna try and move away to draw attention elsewhere.
Also, Derek, does she look at like Ireena at all? Like she could be her mother?
Nah, not really. Not
Okay.
100%. I mean, vaguely familial in the kind of way that a lot of Barovians are vaguely familiar with each other because there's, not a lot of variety of mix, but not anything that would immediately peg you to say, hey, that's my mom.
It is not a
Okay.
diverse gene pool.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yikes.
I just wanted to check because that would have been an easier way for me to be like, well, maybe she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I'm very
Maybe she's not
confused.
crazy.
I am gonna call a spirit. I don't know if I can be specific. Can I be specific?
If you want to try, yes.
I've never done this before, and I don't know if I'd be able to. But I'm out of character. I'm gonna try and call Lelena's mother.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll work, just because of locations and stuff. But
it does not. And in fact, doing that and seeking her out actually makes you feel like she doesn't exist in any way, even spiritual, anymore.
let me try something else. And I erase a couple markings and I put a couple different ones in, and I call somebody that would be around the air, like literally anybody who's listening.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's not
That's not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad.
So let me think for a second.
And I explain to them too while I'm doing this, and you're thinking to
Yeah.
stall for you. When you're in Barovia and you die, you don't go anywhere. You stay. Sometimes you can be seen. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you just say a phrase or a word over and over for all of eternity. And other times you know more, or are powerful, or have certain abilities. I was lucky enough to be able to be seen and to have my faculties mostly about me. I was not very powerful though, as far as ability. But there's gonna be somebody here because they don't go anywhere. There's no passing on for them. For us. So
you hear a voice, Elena. Don't see anything right now, but you hear a voice, a man's voice, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. A man's voice, an older man who says, "That's interesting. How can I help, Elena?"
Can you show them that I'm telling the truth?
Whew. I can't materialize. They don't let me do that.
That's okay.
But
I'm just talking to someone.
yeah. 1 second.
It'll be the most cohesive party, guys.
So Valentina turns to Hana and goes, does she always just talk to herself?
I
Better this morning.
possibly. I truthfully don't know her well.
Okay. I'm just a little concerned.
If possible, by the way, I would like to, like, take a break from festivities and try and go talk to Emmerich.
Okay. All right. Let me.
But yeah.
So. Yeah, go ahead and do that while I try to think about what he's going to do. Yeah.
So Astrid is going to just, tell Armand that she just needs a couple minutes break.
Of course.
And step away and try and, like, okay, no one else is gonna just jump on me. All right. And then she's going to, and I don't know how much Emmerich's been paying attention to any of the interactions with Astrid and the others, but she's going to go from being, like, very confident, very, like, flirty-ish, but, like, whatever, like, rough and tumble flirty, to just, and just walk towards Emmerich, but not, like, quickly, but, like, very directed and very slowly.
He's gonna, like, pause, like, she's not, oh god, and he's gonna try, Ireena, she's coming over here. Why is she coming over here?
I'm just going to sit down in front of you and pull out my Mother Night amulet.
Is it okay? Ireena says.
I have not seen someone who follows her until yesterday. And even then, I do not know all the answers of my companion. But you are the first person I have seen who carries her mark and carries it proudly.
Well, she is my patron, as I do most of my work in the night. Why do you have her mark?
She showed me when I was little. I thought it was a dream, an adventure in my sleep, until I awoke and had it, and had the dirt under my fingernails from where I dug for it, and the dirt on my feet from where I had run in the field. And I have tried to learn and follow, and I am seeking out friends for a quest, to say. But I am not just here to find husband. That is I would have been here for that anyway. But then before I left, that is what the celebration is for, and it is annoying. Anyway, I am here also to speak to Madame Eva and get clarity, but I was shown that I had to go find friends, specific ones, and I am wondering if you are one.
That's a really weird way to ask for friends.
I am not a normal person.
He looks at himself. Touché.
I am a member of the Vistani, and I am odd amongst the Vistani. I do not live by normal.
I mean, I'm a grave digger, so...
It's noble work.
Yes, I like to think so, but it does make me odd to the others in my village. And he kind of glances at Ireena.
Sorry, Ireena says, kind of apologetically.
No, that's not... It's fine.
My family rolls their eyes at me while they still ask me to do what is needed. This is not my normal garb. I do it because I was asked to by my mother. I'm here out of a sense of duty and obligation, not out of wish for myself. What is something I am looking for the sun used to shine in Barovia. And the Vistani, you may have heard rumors, can leave through the mists. And I have been to other places, and the sun shines. The animals are not half dead or transformed. Things grow. The world is green and blue and pink and red, and not a version of grey. And I am looking to bring the sunshine. And I cannot do that on my own. And I do not know how to do that.
Okay.
Wouldn't you like the dead to stay in the grave?
That would be preferable.
Ireena says, while Emmerich is stammering, Ireena says, why would Mother Night want to bring the sun back? Wouldn't the Morning Lord prefer that?
The Morning Lord can choose his own champions, and he did not choose to. But the Mother Night, her companion is the day, and it is hidden. And the night here is still corrupted, is unsafe. It is when things fight and decide to rise again when they should be laid to rest for eternity and
like
safe.
Ireena gives Astrid like this straight on, like heavy look, and she goes, "Oh, I'm well aware." Thank you. Then she immediately goes back into like diplomatic mode. She says, "But thank you for answering my question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Emmerich."
Well, how about first I'm Emmerich.
She does laugh at that.
Mm-hmm.
Astrid Velikovna, at your service. Ireena, Emmerich.
Good to meet you. Hopefully, future friends. However, our friend did just go off with someone we thought was dead.
However, that bitch.
Yeah.
And I believe you came together.
Oh, I look to see who's. Oh, they're both gone. Markings on face or no?
Yes.
Yes. She is complicated. She is not dead, but she. I don't know the full story. We haven't talked. I've only met her yesterday. She is also, champion of Mother Night.
Cool. We just saw her hanging from the gallows down the road.
Oh, those gallows? Oh, you never pay attention to them. Mm-mm. Traitors were buried there.
I'm well aware. However, we saw her specifically hanging from them.
Mm-hmm. She was with me.
I assume
so,
she was.
I hope she can explain more. I would be curious as well. However, she is not undead, but I do not think that she is from here.
I can
well,
tell that.
No, she's from here, but I don't think she's from now. Because she had to ask me, I lean in and I'm like, she had to ask me what year it was when we met.
Not from now.
Yes. So
she's dead, not now. What?
I wonder if she was dead?
I don't like that.
No, neither do I, but I also don't think she is not a zombie.
In my line of
she is not a ghost.
I do prefer the dead stay dead.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come back from dead, usually it is not so lively.
No, and she follows Mother Night, and I trust that it is her doing, and not the devil's.
True. Yes. That. Even I.
The gods are so similar.
I would say that Mother Night perhaps is more of a neutral goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And she can be a little bit of a trickster.
Oh, I know.
Maybe we should check on our friends, perhaps. Because I'm very confused and getting very anxious.
I thought I saw a. You said that one of your friends went off.
Yes.
I look at Ireena and I go, I do not. I do not know if you are one of the friends we are supposed to be seeking. You could be.
That seems kind of rude.
But I will make as many friends as I can. But in terms of, and I pull out my cards, and specifically those. So I pull out, it's the mists, it's, let me see, I'm going to see if, so it's the marionette, the beast, the ghost, the mist, the guild master, and the innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, I should go, oh, I don't gamble.
Oh, no. And these are not cards for gambling. These are cards to tell your future, the way Madame Eva will. But I pull out the mist and I go, this is me. Put it back in. The guild master or guild member. This is the journey. So no person. Put it back. Pull out the ghost. Go. This is Lelana. The dead, not now. Put it back in. And then I still have the marionette, the innocent, move my cat, the marionette, I already said that, marionette, the innocent, the beast, and that's it. There's just the beast 3. Yes, I was like, there's 6 people. No, because that's me.
He kind of narrows his eyes at the beast.
So, and I hold them up in my hands and I go, these are the friends I am looking for. Are you familiar with the deck? With the duck? The deck.
Not particularly. I kind of just sit in a graveyard most nights, so.
So I'll hold up the innocent and I say, let me find it. This is a being of great importance, but whose life is in danger. Flip and pull, and now it's the marionette. This is a servant of a greater power. Flip, and then where's the beast? Oh, and this is a creature or a beast hiding in the plain sight. And I just put them away, and I say, I'm not going to ask which one resonates, but if any do, then we should be friends.
You know, I don't usually get my fortune told or anything, so I'm not really sure about all of that. I think I'm gonna go check on my friend. And he nudges Ireena.
Ireena gets up, offers him a hand up.
Did Ireena react to any of those descriptions?
No.
Okay.
She seems as skeptical as Emmerich, but less talkative about it, so.
Yeah, Emmerich's definitely kind of freaked out because you just came right up to him and spouted a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, we have 2 very direct people in this group. And we tag teamed.
Emmerich's also usually pretty direct about, like, I don't know about that. And also, he's not thrilled about the whole dead, not dead thing. As someone who overviews the dead.
Yeah.
I
She will stand
kind of
up and, like, brush off her skirts and say, I think they went by the lake, but be careful of the woods. You know, go back and go find Armand.
He's very happy
Their new
to see you
hobby.
again.
Yeah.
Armand is sensual, if Astrid will allow it. So he's touchy. So
On the first date?
Not that kind of touchy, just affectionate.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like brushes your hair off your shoulders.
Yeah,
So
that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
cutesy shit, whatever. I'm here talking to a ghost.
Y'all do that conversation. I'm gonna actually have to take a deep dive into her personality real quick to see if she'd be okay with that.
If she's not, he'll stop immediately.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not sure yet. Let me think about that.
Okay. Keely.
Heather is. I don't actually know about Astrid.
Keely, remind me again. You were asking him to provide proof that
that I said what I said was true. What I said was true.
The ghost will be
that
there and
that I
Emmerich
used
will
to
walk
be
up.
dead.
Mm-hmm. So he thinks about this for a minute. He says, unfortunately, I can't really talk to her.
Can you talk through me? To her?
I suppose, but I don't usually like to do that. It's awkward.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Can you can't draw?
No, unfortunately.
All right.
But I mean, if it helps, I can obviously tell that because you don't look the same in this plane as you do in yours.
Oh, I have an idea. Thank you, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'd brush away the thing so he goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Hana, you're from Vallaki. You grew up in Vallaki.
Yes.
Do you remember the children saying rumors about a woman gardening late at night, being seen gardening?
I don't believe so.
Actually, that would be something that you would have heard. Sorry.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And perhaps she looked like this, and I cast minor illusion, and I do a little illusion of what Lelana looked like when she was in a ghost form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What, is that you?
She would tend to gardens. She would make sure that the crops and plants were surviving. That was me.
Yeah. Okay.
I look to Val and I'm like, you are skeptical. We arrived together. We could have fabricated this together, and I understand your concern.
Well, anyone who heard a folk tale from Vallaki could have.
100%.
That's not. I mean, you
let
drew
me-
some figures and talked to yourself and then made a little fancy.
Let me tell you of a mole. Then, something that resonates with you. Your
Sure.
home.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll know this because she's been dead for so long. My grandmother. She was a very proper seamstress and tailor in a mole. About 200 years ago. This is ridiculous. And I described the building that we lived in. And I described the signage that she had and like different customers she had. And I'll mention an old family. And like specifics about that family that like somebody like I mentioned the size of somebody, the certain sizes and measurements of somebody, very important there. This is not good proof, but I don't know what else to provide to you.
So, Val, when she talks about the grandmother and the place that she was from and so on, that hold on a second. Where did I put that? Oops. That sounds like your friend Brigitte's family. Like, like she would have told stories about that. Not directly related, but like that was like a great aunt, and she was the one who founded their store, and that they still do and work, do stuff like that.
Okay. don't know if I would be convinced.
I
by
would say her name specifically. I gotta remember what I had named her. Give me 1 second.
Well,
The grandmother.
Mhm.
I don't remember what it was. I'm looking it up though. Lelana and her document. I didn't change it from our conversation, Derek, but
I don't remember it either, so it's okay.
Radova.
Uh-huh.
Radova.
Mhm. So that does sound, I mean, it was a story that Brigitte told once or twice, but yeah.
She'd have the same surname as me, right?
No, because
No?
Bavarians don't have surnames. They have,
right, that's what I meant.
yeah, they have their father's name as their surname, so each generation is different.
I would say the whole thing then.
Okay.
That was my grandmother. I was lost and taken by someone, and then I died, and I came back because Mother Night needed a problem solved.
What problem?
I point to the castle.
The castle?
It's not so much the castle itself, because buildings are just, they can be taken over. However, it's the resident. I've been told not to talk about it specifically.
Okay. So you're here, inhabiting your mother's body to take out the most powerful person.
It sounds not as poetic when you say it like that.
I'm just trying to. I'm trying not to be rude here, but it's hard for me to believe this. With anyone could look up history and repeat it.
That's fair. There's more, but I don't think you would appreciate it.
Try me.
I can't. Not here.
Okay.
I look at Hana. Are you okay? You look a bit like me.
Mm-hmm.
Pale. That was
Yep, I'm okay.
bad joke. Do we see Emmerich coming?
Mm-hmm.
Hannah kind of seems like she's like looking, zoning out a little bit, or like looking at something else.
Emmerich's kind of looking around going, "Bow." Bow.
If I see Emmerich doing that, I will.
Go get your child.
I'm sorry, Emmerich. I shouldn't have ran off like that. I got curious about
That seems to happen a lot, actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
To be fair, I was more afraid of her than she was of me, I think, so.
You were afraid of me?
You...
Oh, by the way,
yes!
Ireena is right behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Ireena.
Hi.
So, the bride-to-be mentioned something about dead, not now.
I don't think we need to talk about that right now. Val kind of looks at Ireena like, this is awkward.
I think we should all sit down and just talk about whatever is happening here, because this is bizarre, and I have so many questions, and we're all clearly disturbed by each other, so let's try and be less disturbed by being on the same page at least.
I will go get Astrid. Thank you for my exit, and I leave.
So actually, right when you start to go, you turn around and look, and then the 15-year-old Vistani girl is like standing there behind you, and she's like, you didn't hear her moving in. She goes, "Do you like poetry?"
Yes.
Okay. Not most people appreciate it around here, but I'm supposed to tell you that Madame Eva wants to see you guys, and but afterwards I can read you some of my poetry, because my dad doesn't appreciate it at all.
Okay.
I love her.
Mhm.
I'm
Angsty
looking.
teen.
She
I
would-
look a little alarmed that a kid is talking to Lelana. Like,
Yeah.
no.
And she points at Lelana, and she points at Hana, and she points at Val, and she points at Emmerich, and she says, Madam Eva wants to see you. Now.
But not her. And I point at Ireena.
No, she didn't ask for her. Irena's like,
Can she come?
Yeah, I don't really want to leave her alone.
I'm sure you could bring her. Madam Eva will tell you if she has to leave the tent or not. That's fine.
It matters. I
looks
don't
at
think the
Ireena.
spirits would bother her out here, but whatever.
There are other things that might try to bother her that I don't want to leave her outside for.
Okay, to the tent.
Mhm.
I grab another glass of wine on my way in.
So on her way back, Sophia, the young Vistani girl, comes up to Astrid and Armand. She said, Astrid, Madame Eva wants to see you.
Also, the answer to the question of she will let him like hand on shoulder, hand on arm, appropriate places upper torso. She doesn't let him touch the hair.
Okay.
Except your cat.
Butt in the face.
I am his pathway to the
Yeah.
chair. This
So
is a normal occurrence.
Armand respects your boundaries.
Yeah.
Emmerich just looks like he's having a crisis.
So does Hana, but she's probably a little more graceful about it.
She
So does
will-
Lena, and she is not graceful about it.
so Astrid will just words tell Armand that she'll talk later, and then just go to Madame Eva, and at the entrance of the tent just another deep breath, because this is the other fun thing, and then if she's allowed go in.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you guys in the tent for no good reason, but
Just you can see it. It's fine.
I had to move the door so you could get in. Ta-da! So I will give you descriptions and such in just a second. All right. First of all,
I'm scared.
are you scared? I'm sorry, I don't mean to scare you.
I'm scared too.
Emmerich's scared.
He's so good. Good bean.
Mhm. Alright, so here's our wonderful picture of Madame Eva, a perfectly normal person.
Oh yeah.
Emmerich
it.
more scared.
I would
Love
trust her
it.
with my drink. Yeah, it's
Lo-
fine.
That's such a real barometer, though.
Right.
Do you hand them your drink when you walk away from it?
Right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Don't. I was just clearing my throat, literally,
Okay.
not to interrupt, not to say you were doing something wrong. I just actually had to.
Okay.
Allergies killing me this time of year.
Oh, no.
Magic flames cast a reddish glow over the interior of this tent, revealing a low table covered in a black velvet cloth. I skipped a line there somehow. But anyway, she's sitting at the end of the table and looks up and says, welcome. Come, sit around my table and let Madame Eva get a good look at you. All of you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm gonna politely sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I sitting next to? This might be important.
I mean, I'll go ahead and
That's
sit
up to
next to
you.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll try and sit as the barrier. If Lelana went, I don't know if you would sit on Hannah's other side, and then I'll sit between the
We'll make
two
an Astrid
groups.
sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably
'Cause that
try
also-
to make an Ireena sandwich with Val.
Yeah.
Just because that way it puts me towards the center in general, which I know is going to be more helpful for you guys, and also as a barrier because of all the weird energy coming off
So
Val right
it's
now.
so I would either I or Val am sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me. I
Yes,
just wanted
Val.
to make sure I was sitting next to Ireena.
Yeah,
the
so we
question
had
is-
the same thought. Okay, great.
So the question
Yeah.
is, Emmerich, do you want to be next to Astrid or do you want to be away from Astrid?
I feel it depends on how Val would sit, and if he's like the last person sitting down, he's like, I can't. He would sit next to her if that's the last seat. But he's also definitely like,
All right,
this
knowing
lady
how-
just walked straight up to me and dropped
knowing
information
how,
on me.
Yeah, knowing how awkward Emmerich is, Val will sit next to Astrid.
So wait, that means I'm all the way at the other end where I'm like right next to Madden.
Uh-huh.
No.
So
Both
here's
are
the thing,
terrible
like,
options.
I don't know
Which
if it
one
helps.
was more awkward for you? Because I'll just sit next to.
Astrid's focus is completely on Madame Eva.
You know what? I'll sit next to Astrid because Madame
Okay.
Eva gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, she'll,
There are
like,
more
barely
dark-
acknowledge. She'll just, like, look at you and smile and then look back at Madame Eva like, this is my new focus.
The fortune teller brings out an ornately carved small wooden box. She carefully opens the box with her gnarled hands and brings out a time-worn and well-used set of cards wrapped in silk. They are, by the way, the nicest set of cards you have ever seen, Astrid. The threads of fate have finally seen fit to bring you to me, she speaks. I recognize all of you. I have seen your faces in the cards and in my dreams. Emmerich, the gentle soul with the expression of a beast. Lelana, the daughter of the mother, a ghost in her own skin. Hana, the innocent face of a troubled family. Val, the brave naturalist who may yet snip the strings that bind her. Her wizened head rises then, and she offers something that may resemble a smile. And of course, Astrid of the Velikovs, stepping out from the mists to chart her own course and build her own guild of companions. I do hope your mother is well.
She is well. She's encouraged me to seek you out.
That's good. And then she seems to notice Ireena, and she says, "Oh yes." And Ireena, the chaste prey who refuses to be a victim.
So real quick, we have Lelena's ghost, Val is marionette, Hana is innocent,
Mm-hmm.
And
Emmerich is beast,
Mhm.
and then I'm the mists.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the Beastie Boys.
Yee!
I'm the only man.
Mm-hmm. Manly
Don't worry,
man.
we'll protect you. It's fine.
She says, "You have all been brought to me at this moment with a mighty challenge ahead of you, and the future of this dark land in your young hands. The Taroka, as Astrid knows, has the gift of prophecy. You see." And she cackles, which is a little different than her demeanor, but it's definitely a good, solid cackle. As a steady rain begins to fall upon the roof of the tent. And the cards promise to provide a guide, a help to make the impossible something that the brave and cunning may yet reach. Finally, she begins to lie the cards on the table in the shape of a cross. And... no, not there. Where are we? Here. That's not where I was.
It's always the same shape, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in this case, it could be another shape, so.
I just want to make sure that I write these down correctly.
Okay. Got that. Oops. Alright. You guys can see the board, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Alright. One by one, Madame Eva begins to turn the cards over in her reading, speaking of their meaning. The first card is history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. She turns it over. This is the enchanter, the Three of Stars. Here I see a kneeling woman, a rose of great beauty plucked too soon. The master of the marsh knows of whom I speak. The second card, atop the cross, tells of a powerful force for good and protection, a holy symbol of great hope. Now, oops. Of course I gotta check it first. Now, we see the bishop, the eight of glyphs. The force you seek lies in a pile of treasure beyond a set of amber doors. On the right of the cross is a card of power and strength. It tells a weapon of vengeance, a blade of sunlight. It seems appropriate then that we have drawn the paladin, the Two of Swords. In this card I see a sleeping prince, a servant of light and the brother of darkness. The treasure lies with him. On the bottom, we shed light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. It is one of the high deck, the beast. It seems a werewolf holds a secret hatred for your enemy. Use her hatred to your advantage. And finally, at the center of it all, your enemy. He is a creature of darkness, whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him. Another of the high deck. Truly your enemy is both of immense power and is preparing for you even as we speak. Look to great heights. Look to great heights. Find the beating heart of the castle. He waits nearby. And she leans back.
Alrighty, great. Okay. Whew. I want to look at everyone else's face and see what their reaction to this is.
I'm watching Val.
She looks surprised. And uncertain.
While watching Val, Lelana looks not surprised.
Hana?
Hannah is just calm and seemingly just like collected, but her hands are still like very like stiff in her lap, like how she was holding the reins really tight. She is now like death gripping her own hands, despite everything else about her. Very collected.
Is that Emmerich face that you're making?
Kind of, yeah. No, like, Emmerich's very still, very, quiet still, but you're just kind of like, like internal screaming. He's like, this isn't what I signed up for.
So,
it's just escorting two ladies, please.
I will pull out the cards again that I've pulled out multiple times now, and I will lay them out, and I'll just say to, like, towards Mother Eva, my mother did a reading. And I will lay the beast in front of Emmerich, the innocent in front of Hannah, the marionette in front of Val, the ghost in front of Lelana, the mists in front of me, and then I'll put the guild member in, like, closer to her deck, but, like, in front of all of us. She said that I should find friends.
Yes.
I'm sorry. What does mine mean? What is this about?
She looks to Astrid to answer, who's not, and she says, "Yes, Astrid, I'm aware, and I too have seen these cards, and that is why I called the five of you in here."
I turned towards Emmerich and I said, "See? I said we would be friends." And I look towards Val and I'm just like, we have not met yet. But this is where a journey starts, if you are willing to enter it?
I am. I'm just...
And I'll pick up my cards again. The laying out of the cards, like I was watching Madam Even just to like confirm that this is who each of us are, and then I'll gather them back up and put them away. And mine, again, my deck looks very, very early stages. I'm not doing a reading with my deck anytime soon at all, if ever, because it's like not crude art, but very simple, like sketches at this point. Still in the making. As in Heather hasn't made it yet, it's fine. But she'll put those back in and
so Madame Eva turns to Val then and says, the marionette, is that what you are asking about?
Yeah.
The marionette represents the presence of a spy or minion of some greater power, an encounter with a puppet or an underling. Does it mean exactly the same thing when it comes to you? I do not know.
Looking more like at the table, I said, my mother is the, what is it, the Reina?
Rani.
The Rani, there we go. Is the Rani of our family. She's the leader. And she has the sight. And I was supposed to go and find each of you. And through all of this, I'm not like specifically ignoring Ireena, but I'm not looking at her. Like I'm making more like
Ireena generally seems relieved to not be included in this.
Yeah. I was like, I was supposed to go and find friends. And I met Lelana, who is not of this time, but that may be to an advantage. I have met Hana, who is no friend of her own family, but I do not know why. I have met Emmerich, another acolyte of the Mother Night, and one who respects the way nature should be, and I hope will help end the perverseness of the undead. And now you, and looks at Val, because I still don't know your name. You seem to be one who has traveled recently, but I do not know what has set you on your journey.
Family obligations.
I want to see the sunshine in Barovia. I want the animals to live. I want the dead to be at rest. And I want the devil dead. I look at Madame Eva when I say that last line.
Stone-faced. But before that, she says, when you say, I want to see the sunshine in Barovia, and Madame Eva says, that is why you have been brought 2 of the night and 2 of the sun, or of the day. You obviously all have much to discuss with each other, but you cannot do it in front of me.
May I ask you something, Madame Eva?
Of course.
About our reading?
Yes.
You have seen that we find some sort of holy symbol and this sun weapon. And with that, and apparently a particular individual, we will be better prepared to face, to bring back the sun.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ensure I understood you correctly.
There are many things that I think each of us needs to do. I know at least I have already promised Hana to assist in finishing the delivery of a dress. But I do think we should talk, and we should learn of each other. And I look back to Madame Eva, and we tell my mother no decision has been made.
You can tell her yourself. Don't worry.
I don't know when I will see her.
Well, let's talk more about that if you would mind to stay here for a moment or two.
Yes.
And speak to you, and the rest of you may go relax, have some drinks, have a good night rest. Okay, this is our one-on-one, so I need, so we're going to do just Heather, so if you want to turn off their headsets for like 10 minutes.
Sure.
Which we might be done anyway at that time, but here we go.
Okay.
There was a part of me that had hoped that the list of the suitors was going to be the one-on-one, and that was it.
Yeah, nope. No.
Hi.
Madame Eva carefully, gently puts her Taroka deck away, safely behind her, and the glints of light seem to flash from a crystal ball as she places it upon the table. Sit close, she says, with a cackling laugh. And do not worry, I do not bite.
I'll scoot in. I'm sure I've met her before, even if not for.
It's more like she doesn't talk to a lot of people, so it's like you've seen her before, but not like yeah. So, a cloudy mist begins to circle within the crystal ball, turning the colors from reds and blues to back again to whites. As they swirl, a dark shape appears in the heart of the sphere. There is a story I must share with you, she says. This may be a story that you have heard before in other variations, but I swear to you, the version I speak is the truth. I know, because it was the Barovians who were there. You know we came from an ancient land whose name is long forgotten, a land of kings. Our enemies forced us from our homes, and now we wander the roads. The dark shape in the sphere takes the form of a man being knocked from his horse, a spear piercing his side. Madame Eve continues. One night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nursed his terrible injury and quenched his thirst with wine. He survived. When we asked him who he was, he wouldn't say. All he wanted was to return home. But we were deep in the land of his enemies. We took him as one of our own and followed him back towards the homeland, his homeland. His enemies hunted him. They said he was a prince. Yet we didn't give him up, even when their assassins fell upon us like wolves. Deep in the crystal, you see dark figures standing with sword drawn, fighting off a host of shadowy shapes. This man of royal blood fought to protect us, as we protected him. We bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us, and he said, I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish, leave when you choose, and know that you will always be safe here. The figure in the dancing mist vanquishes its final foe, then disperses into itself, leaving the sphere once again clear. She says, yes, it was. And now you know who's the subject of that tale. And but you also should know that a curse befell him, turned the noble prince into a tyrant. Now we alone have the power to leave his domain as he honors the promises given long ago. This is the true reason we travel, why whenever we travel through the mists to other worlds, we always come back to bleak Barovia. We are protected here. And this is the why many of our people find it important to serve him. She says, I wish his curse to be ended. Then she sits up straight in her chair, straightening the curve in her back for the first time since you entered her tent. Astrid, she says, the cards have shown me the path you are to take. But fate is a funny thing sometimes, and following the threads is not always easy. You know, of course, that we cannot read our own futures, but yet I see hints of yours. You know why. So do I. Before you follow the thread that fate has laden before you, I will warn you that your choices do not only affect you, but also your family and your people. Will what you do break the ancient agreement between the Vistani and the once noble prince? Will it cause death and destruction to rain upon us all? Will it perhaps be necessary for your uncle to declare you outcast, mortu, while your mother begs in tears for him not to take such a step? All the while knowing he needs to do to save the family. Will it perhaps instead save all of our souls, Vistani and Giorgio alike? I do not know. The mists conceal all of this from me. Barovia is a land frozen in its past. Choices were made, have been made by many different powerful beings, both of noble and vile natures, which have made the place what it is today. And once more, she leaned close, forward, intense. Those who you seek to travel with, your friends, they are trapped by those old choices and tied to this dark land. They each feel a tug on their hearts of decisions made long ago, and they have a need to explore them, even if they do not yet know this. Only then can they truly move towards the future. Your new friends are bound to the past, just as they are bound to this land, but you are not. You are Vistani, and we exist upon the roads, outside of time and outside of place. So you have a choice to make. You could keep your pretty dress on. Enjoy yourself, perhaps find a partner with whom you will dance around the fire, and then go back to Gavardo and your mother's embrace. Or you could strap that sheet of metal over your heart, carry forth the direction to which the fates direct you, and tie yourself to this land as well, and to its past, and to the echoes of your father's choices. Do not make this decision rashly, young Astrid. You must know deep inside you, which way you will travel before you leave. Madame Eva finally exhales slowly and waves her hand dismissively, leaning back and suddenly appearing exhausted and very, very old. She says, "The sight takes much out of me. I must rest. Go outside, join the party, learn of your friends, make your decision."
Do you know who my father is?
Only that he is one who lives amongst your family today. The cards have not shown me otherwise, really, that his face is hidden in the mists. But he lives today, that I know.
Thank you. I will not make the decision rashly, but I believe I knew what that answer would be before I walked into this tent.
As did I, but I wanted to make sure you understood.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
I'll get up and exit. Okay. Yee! Come back. Friends! Come.
Hello!
Hello.
Everybody left us.
Yeah, that's okay.
Uh-huh. Come back. Just gonna keep dancing on the ears. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Hello. We just need a Hana.
Yeah.
Just need a Rachel.
I worked a long time on that.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you. I thought I did a decent job of it. I was proud of myself afterwards.
Okay. And I'd like to think those were her facial expressions as well, honestly. It's pretty good. Yee.
I see it went interesting.
Apparently.
It was oh no, a one-on-one with the old crone is gonna be nice and cheerful and normal. She asked me how my mom was. She asked me how my uncle was. We talked about, Vistani tradition. It's all great. Not lying. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
While we're waiting for Rachel,
Whew.
I
Oh, honey.
will point out that I made little handouts with the information from the reading for you guys, so you have
cool.
them.
Thank
Great.
you.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Oh, my heart is beating. Oh my god.
It's
I just
funny
realized
because,
I left my door open and my dog came in.
I always try to play my character as being super nice, but tonight she was just like, no, you can't just be a ghost. I'm sorry. Just like, no, logic brain.
I was actually really glad that you guys dispersed, because regardless, Astrid wanted to go talk to the person that also follows Mother Night, which is a very not well worshipped goddess.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, Val, since she left, has only met Mother Night worshippers.
That's
that one Morning Lord guy.
I in all of her travel, the only people that Astrid would have been, the only things that Astrid has ever encountered with Mother Night has been a dream, not really a dream, but it seemed like a dream, and the shrines. I don't think she's interacted with anybody that actually, Lelana was literally the first person, and Emmerich is the second, and he's not an ancient ancient being come back, and yeah, so Astrid's going to leave the tent, gonna, have very brief conversation with Armand of that there is a greater current focus, and just a very non-concrete response in any direction.
He says, I understand many come out of Madame-Eve's tent with such a thing, but I like you. You're fun. And you know what you want, and that is attractive. If you wish to come by and while we are here and anything, just let me know. I'm happy to share what I have and get to know you better.
I will have to see what type of person I am at the end of this journey, and if I'm even alive.
Well, if you need respite during your journey, I am perfectly here to help you. Oh, no.
Leo, where did you go?
All right, I think I'm going to end the stream then. Guys, everybody, since we're near the end anyway, and
We can pick up later.
we can pick up later.
Yeah, that's pick up in the morning with the. Oh, lordy lord.
Everybody, thank you for watching, if you did, and you all have a great day. See us here in 2 weeks. We love you.
Thanks for the raid, too.
Bye. Yeah, thanks for the raid.
Bye. Yeah. Bye.